John Boast, U.S. Department of Justice, ATF, end of watch, July 28th. Special Agent Boast was killed as a result of an accidental discharge of a rifle inside of a police station in Maui, Hawaii. Special Agent Boast had served with the ATF for 15 years and had previously served with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, North Carolina, for 5. He is survived by his parents. Trooper Caleb Starr, 33 years old, Michigan State Police. End of watch, July 31st. Trooper Caleb Starr succumbed to injuries sustained 3 weeks earlier when his vehicle was struck head-on by an intoxicated driver. Trooper Starr served with the Michigan State Police for 2 years. He is survived by his wife and 2 children. Sergeant Stephen Splon, Bloomfield Hills Department of Public Safety, Michigan. End of watch, August 2nd. Sergeant Splon suffered a fatal heart attack several hours after cutting and removing a large tree that had fallen onto Bloomfield Hills Parkway east of Woodward Avenue. He returned to the station and was found unresponsive at approximately 11 p.m. Sergeant Splon had served with the Bloomfield Hills Police Department for 15 years. He is survived by his wife and 4 children. The following officers were killed in the line of duty after contracting COVID-19. Border Patrol Agent Augustin Aguiar, Jr., U.S. Customs and Border Protection, end of watch, July 25th. Investigator Mark Brown, Harris County Constable's Office, Texas, end of watch, July 25th. Sergeant Corey Prendergrass, Lauderhill Police Department, end of watch, July 26th. Corrections Police Officer Ruben Martinez, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, end of watch, July 26th. Corrections Officer Eric Johnson, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, end of watch, July 27th. We will now take a moment of silence to honor the fallen police officers, firefighters, and first responders, and veterans that have given the ultimate sacrifice. Welcome back to the Blue Room, folks, where we have the right to remain silent, but
that ain't happening.
That ain't happening.
There we go.
Exactly. The hat I'm wearing today honors Detective April Bird, Asbury Park Police Department. Yesterday, August 5th, was the anniversary of her passing. Detective Bird suffered a major medical emergency while conducting a shooting investigation. Detective Bird served with law enforcement for 20 years and previously served with the U.S. Department of Defense and the New Jersey Department of Corrections. April was also a longtime member of the charity Brothers Before Others. She was also instrumental in forming of another charitable event called Run for the Call, with a charity called Copline. So Run for the Call is held every year on New Year's Eve as a reminder that officers all over the country are working and are not spending time with their family and friends. It's good, fun, clean way to start off the new year, healthy, sober, and safe. And you can follow what Copline is doing at copline.org. We also wish to honor and remember longtime BBO member Lieutenant Mark Kimsey, a.k.a. Francis Xavier Mulroney, a.k.a. FXM of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, Tennessee. Lieutenant Kimsey passed away unexpectedly on August 1st. He is survived by 3 children and has left a hole the size of the Grand Canyon in the hearts of everyone that knew him. We miss you, Mark. Godspeed, brother. And that sucks. We had some real personal stuff here. Besides the 2 BBO members, the officer in Lauderhill was good friends of our good friend Ron Torres. They worked together. I remember when Ron posted it on Facebook as a good friend of his. So a lot of hurt going around the charity this week, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Do we have our guest on the air, ready to rock and roll? All right, so our before we want to start? No,
yeah,
we're good?
No, go ahead.
Our special guest tonight, former police officer with Detroit Police Department, former police officer with LAPD, left there in 2009 as a captain, former police chief in Portland, Maine, former police chief in Cincinnati, Ohio, and current chief of police with the Detroit Police Department, Chief James Craig. Chief, you on the air with us?
I'm on air. How you doing?
How's it going, Chief? Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
We are thrilled, man. I'll tell you, your name popped up quite a few times in the last few months with the way your handling of what's going on in Detroit, like a lot of major cities. But more importantly, what really stood out for me personally was the way you defend your cops. The way your first initial reaction to things that happen to your cops is to not necessarily defend them, but not throw them under the bus. Hey, let's figure this out. Let's get to the bottom of it. Let's just not,
Right.
condemn them before fact one is out, which unfortunately today is not very present. It doesn't happen often, and when it does, we don't hear about it. So to hear about it come from the chief of department is just amazing.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you saying that, because that's a fact. It's just not common, and it's unfortunate, particularly what we're dealing with today.
Mm-hmm.
The mob is alive and well, as you know, and we've had 4 officer-involved shootings in 3 weeks here in the city of Detroit. Each officer was faced with an imminent threat to their life.
Yep.
But yet, this violent core group of the protesters tried to change the narrative, and at least one of them, and suggested that we assassinated a violent, predatory criminal. It's a fact. And we were able to get out a video that refuted it. I was just, before coming on your show, talking about our last shooting and how this individual was mentally ill. He was a barricaded suspect a few weeks prior. And it's unfortunate that nobody ever holds anyone else accountable or responsible for addressing some of the issues in our society. I mean, where's the treatment for the mentally ill?
That's a big part of it. Of course.
A major part of it. Absolutely.
The what really sticks out for me with your department, you said they had 4 major shootings, but in July, Hakeem Littleton, here's a guy that was on the radar, right, as a suspect for a shooting. The officers show up. They jump out, they ID him, they start to approach him. He goes to his waistband, it starts to run, and is shooting at the cops. And it's all on video. Obviously, and most of the people listening.
It gets a little better. It's a little bit better than that. So, several days prior, we've asked our officers to go out. We've had a series of multiple shooting incidents. This was a block party where a number of young people were shot. 8 people shot. And so our officers followed up, doing their investigative work. In fact, Hakeem, while we were looking at him, we were focused on his partner, his colleague, his friend. So as we took him into custody, Hakeem decided he would interfere with what we were doing. He says, you're not going to take, he said it in another way, of course, you're not going to take our friend to jail. He approached, immediately pulled a weapon out, and started to fire within 2 to 3 feet of our officer. He fired 2 quick shots at the head of our officer. It's only by the grace of God he wasn't struck by a gunfire. And that same officer, without hesitation, total disregard for his own safety, concerned about his partners on the scene, grabbed that individual as he continued to fire his weapon. And it was his partners that fired the fatal round into this suspect. But that was not the narrative that the mob was pushing out. The narrative was that we saw him sitting on a porch, unprovoked. Detroit police showed up and shot him 15 times.
And here you have body cam video, and unfortunately, back in the day,
Absolutely.
this is all evidentiary nature material here. You typically would not release anything that would compromise a prosecution ever. And now we're at the point where the minute something happens, if you don't produce some sort of video to combat that false narrative, so you're hurting the prosecution's case. But more importantly, it doesn't matter. You guys released that video fairly soon after, and they still protested and rioted. Like, if there's ever been a cause for a justified shooting, it was that. And yet it's still not enough for this culture, for some reason, that there's always going to be a reason why it shouldn't have. It could have been handled this way. It could have been handled that. It can't. When you shoot a gun at a cop, you have to expect to be shot. That's it. And end the story.
If you point a gun at a police officer, if you throw a knife and threaten an officer with a sharp-edged object, expect to be met with appropriate force. It's just that simple.
I mean, unless
This is
Chief,
not dosage.
unless it's in New York, Chief,
not-
they would like their officers to use a light touch
Light
in
touch.
New York.
Soft touch, right? Soft touch.
So I'm sorry, a soft touch. Correct.
Q-tips.
Okay, we use a soft touch with unarmed individuals.
Yeah.
Yep.
When a person is armed,
The rules are out the
I don't know.
window. Yeah,
I've been doing this.
there's no
I've
rules.
been doing this for 44 years.
God bless.
44 years. I mean, some cities are taking away gas and less than lethal munitions. How are officers to restore order when they're faced with a violent mob?
Unbelievable.
I don't know how they're supposed to
what's
face
sad?
it.
I got to tell you something. I had a chance to visit the great city of New York before COVID. Met with some of the detectives there. They were miserable. They didn't feel supported by elected leaders. And, you know, it's a sad day that we're in.
Very.
And so in your opening monologue, yeah, it is important, especially sitting in this seat, that I support the men and women who do the most difficult job in America. More now than ever before. More now than even when I started in 1977.
But that support's got to come from so many different places. And I think the first place, you know, people say the community relations or whatnot. I think the first place that support has to come from are your direct supervisors. At one point, you had said when you came into Detroit as the police chief that you wanted cops to respond, that morale was low, and you were quoted as saying, at 2:00 in the morning, when someone calls the police, I want to make sure the cop that comes to your door is happy. By happy means supported. If you support your police as a commissioner, as a chief, whatever the level is of the highest rank in your department, if you support them and you show them that you support them, you're going to get happy cops. You're going to get guys that want to go to work. Yep. And they're going to want to listen. I would say 85% of this profession really, truly loves what we do, and we do it for a reason and for a cause. And there's going to be those folks that just come 9 to 5, collect their check, and go home. That's this what's going on right now is not affecting that small percentage of officers. But when you have a leader such as yourself that says, I want my folks to be happy, I want them to feel protected. I don't know how you've done so well in the cities that you've served as chief, because I won't get into your politics per se personally, but all the cities that you served, when you retired from L.A. as a captain, you had a Democratic mayor. When you went to Portland, Maine, you had a Democratic mayor. When you went to Cincinnati, you had a Democratic mayor. When you went to Detroit, Democratic mayor.
My condolences.
You were able to bring crime down in all of those places when we're so, I say we as cops, we all kind of look at that and we talk about Chicago, we talk about Baltimore and New York City, the Democrats. You worked in places with Democratic mayors and brought crime down. There's something that you're doing that you need to share with the rest of this country.
Share.
You really
I want to share.
You gotta, Chief. Because honestly, I don't know. I can't imagine what you're doing that is making the changes that you're making, and no one else seems to be getting it for the most part.
It's so simple. It's frightening. And let me tell you, it's no different than running a successful company. You know, when you look at some of these Fortune 500 companies, whether it's Microsoft, Apple. And it really comes down to one basic thing. How do you treat the people who do the work every day?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you treat them good and they feel valued, and I mean truly valued by the leadership, that translates into how the community responds. See, Detroit was such an interesting place when I got back 7 years ago, even though I started here, grew up here, and left for many years. You know, I got to tell you, what was so fascinating coming home, the city was in ruins. We went through the largest municipal bankruptcy in the history of this country.
Wow.
The police officers were demoralized. They had their pay stripped. The police officers, not their supervisors, forced them to long shifts with lower pay. So, you know, Their morale's at the bottom. And then the community, oh my God, their morale was at the bottom. I said, where's the police at? It takes them an hour to get to a 911 emergency call. So I'll never forget this. I went to a union meeting a couple of days before my swearing in, and I asked this gruffy, probably 25-year-plus police officer and said, what do you want? I'll tell you what we want, Chief. We want to be cops again. And we want you to fire everybody appointed. Then it was inspector, now at the rank of inspector and above. So I listened to that. I said, okay, I got it. They want to be cops. They want a 10-plus year consent decree. The bosses were killing them, but the bosses weren't held accountable. So you know what I did? I did something no one else did. I came in and got rid of everybody at the rank of inspector above, with the exception of 3 people. Gone.
Outstanding.
Nice.
Go back to the rank of lieutenant because they wasn't supporting the cops. So they had to go. And then I went to the community, and the community told me, we want our police officers. We want law enforcement. We want people to be arrested who engage in crime. I said, okay, take care of the cops. We went out and we started doing something in my first, 2-3 months. We called it throwing parties. We threw parties, believe it or not. And you know what the party was? We identified the most treacherous locations or neighborhoods, and I brought in an army of men and women who wore this uniform.
That's awesome.
And we went in there very strategically, laser-like, and started locking people up.
That's awesome.
And guess what happened? The community cheered. Detroiters cheered. The cops felt like, wow, we can be cops again. We can be cops again. And so I always tell that story because that was the beginning. You know, I look at what's going on across the country today, and police chiefs are now trying to get on their knee and kumbaya with the protest.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
I said, hey, friend, here's the problem with that. Embracing the community doesn't start when there's something tragic. It starts from the beginning. And the reason why Detroit didn't burn, the reason why we didn't have looting, everybody expected us to be the face of America of a riot. It's Detroit. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I've been on national news over the last year, because everybody wants to know, why didn't Detroit burn? Because, one, the cops feel real good about being police officers here because their chief is going to stand up and support them. Secondly, the community feels real good about this police department. We didn't start building bridges when things went wrong. This started day one. And so, guess what? That's the magic in it.
You know, your cops definitely feel supported. A lot of, well, not a lot, but there's a good number of your cops that are involved with our charity. And I was talking to one of them, and he's saying your younger cops are taking guns off the streets at an unbelievable rate.
100 a week. That's the average. Can you believe that?
I guess one of the corrections guys messaged him. Yeah, one of the corrections guys messaged him, and he's like, yo, this is the 30th gun arrest your guys have brought in tonight. And that, I mean, Chief, that speaks volumes to what you're saying. You would, if your guys didn't feel supported, if your guys weren't happy, that wouldn't be happening. Those guys are still going out and crushing it.
But I also think you have a lot. I'm sorry.
But let me just say this. Not only are they getting the guns, and this is happening because I get a feed on my phone that talks about every officer-involved shooting across this country, where officers have been attacked, where officers have used deadly force. And here's what I know, and I know you know this. Here's what's happening. This anti-police rhetoric is emboldening these suspects. They've become more aggressive, and they are attacking the American police officer. That's what they're doing.
It's like unleashing the beast.
It really is.
And everybody's got a gun. Everybody's got a gun.
Yep.
But I think what separates Detroit from a lot of other cities that are facing the same issues is that you guys have a lot of residents that lived there in '67. They knew what it was like in in the '80s when they were doing Devil's Night and they were burning down abandoned houses so that they didn't become crack dens. They were basically burning down houses to save their own neighborhoods because they didn't want the crackheads living in these houses.
Hey,
You've got folks that lived through that then, and now they're saying we don't want that back. We do not want that back.
We don't want it. Absolutely.
And that's very unique.
Just like in New York and these other major cities, you got these outside domestic terrorists coming into our cities and inciting riotous behavior. That's what's happening. Outsiders.
With
another agenda.
You guys have a guy. His name is Martin Jones, who I'm sure you spoke to from Detroit 300, who's a community activist. Yeah. When you have a community activist that says things like the chief had to make sure we didn't have any problems that we saw in other cities, and he brought in more police. You've got community activists who typically his job is to get under your skin and create havoc. Are complimenting you.
Oh, and guess what? They lined up with us.
I honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with this is your hometown. You grew up there. There was a scene in a movie or someone had said, give me one man defending his home versus 10 soldiers trying to take it, and I'll take that one man every time. And I think that's what you've got going on there. You're the prodigal son returned saying, hey, you know what? I'm not just the hired gun. This is where I live. This is where I grew up. I don't want to see it go back. I was here then when it was getting burned out. And there's a lot of weight to that.
Yep. I was a young man. I was here in 1967. I was a young man. 10 years later, I became a Detroit police officer at 19 years old.
And that's what
since 19.
And that's what they're saying now. That's what they're saying now for the younger generation. If you want to make change with the police department, I have an idea. Why don't you sign up? You can make more change by signing up than you ever will by burning down the CVS on the corner.
Yep.
And that's why a lot of these young folks in our community, they rallied behind me. And they didn't rally with these outside domestic terrorists, these instigators. They didn't do it. And I'm going to tell you, it was tragic to look at images coming out of, say, Philadelphia, where the police retreated.
Yeah.
They retreated and blocked. And then you got mayors saying, well, we don't want to use gas and we don't want to use...
We don't even want you to have riot helmets on. We don't even want you to have riot helmets on. No sticks.
Guess what? Didn't happen in Detroit.
In Seattle, they had a judge sign an order say you couldn't use tear gas and pepper spray to beat. And now there's a lawsuit now going on in Seattle. 5 people signed up and they've got it in court where they're trying to get a judge to rule, a district court judge to rule that the Seattle Police Department cannot use physical force to break up the riots. I mean, I can't even.
So in other words, let the mob burn the city.
Yep, absolutely. Let the communities burn.
They're actually suing for that to happen.
Let's protect the mob because the good people, they don't matter. Let's just take over 6 city blocks, and then when there's a shooting, say that the police can't come in here and do their investigative work. We're not even going to let EMS come in because this is the people's. And then you force police officers to leave a police station?
Yeah.
In America?
Or how about Aurora, Colorado, where not only did they not allow them to leave, they chained up the doors to the police station, and then they sat there and watched for 7 hours while the rioters surrounded the building. And only when the fireworks came out and they found the gasoline cans stored in the bushes around the building did the mayor and the police chief decide to take action. They allowed their members to be chained up, imprisoned, if you will. In their own police station house for 7 hours. I can't even wrap my head around that. And for a guy like you have to look at that and say, wow, I need to go there and just kind of smack them around a little bit and let them know how to do their jobs.
It's unbelievable.
Well,
Please.
Because you need to teach the class, Chief. You need to teach the
It's
class.
something that I've never seen before,
It's
honestly.
unbelievable.
But I also think Duggan's again. He's a Democrat from a bygone era. He's not the typical left wing Democrat that we have of the and both sides have their extremists. And he's not one of them. He's the middle of the road guy that says, hey, I have my beliefs that are in line with my party, but I'm not so far off to the left that I would allow this to happen. He's a guy that
I got to.
Sorry.
I'm very fortunate. I mean, the mayor was a prosecutor here, so he understands and can appreciate, what enforcement looks like. It is shameful. I made a comment, I guess, on some national news store about what was going on in Atlanta, and the Atlanta mayor was angry at me, and I guess she called my mayor. You know what? Get over it.
Yep.
People elect mayors and city council to do what? To ensure their safety.
Well,
And
ideally,
that's-
yeah.
and as the police chief, I'm extremely. I mean, I know what my obligation is. I mean, I know the chief in Seattle, but you know what? I don't care. You're not going to take. They tried that madness here about a month and a half ago. So they wanted to take over an intersection and call it a no cop zone. How long do you think that lasted? How long did you think that lasted?
Knowing your guys, I'm gonna guess it didn't.
About a minute.
It didn't.
No, they called me. They called me up and said, Chief, they're trying to set autonomous zones. I said, oh, really? I said, here's what I need you to do right now. I'm on my way. I said, give them the order to vacate immediately. I'm en route. Let them know I'm coming. I want them gone. They were
Outstanding.
gone immediately.
Amen. Amen to that.
I'm not putting up with that.
Better take that to Philly.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also the support.
Well,
Like
I saw what was going on, and I love Philly. I know the new chief there, too. But what I do remember seeing was a block where the looters, the mob, just took over. Just took over.
It's unbelievable.
but they
You
allowed
know what
it.
I got to tell you? Here's my orientation. So I went through the 1992 riots after the acquittal of the LAPD officers on the beating of Rodney King.
Okay.
I was an LAPD sergeant then, and there was a lieutenant who responded to the epicenter. You may remember Florence and Normandy, Reginald Denny, the trucker that got beat,
Yep, sure.
and many others got beaten in that area. So you remember that?
Yeah, of
Yes.
course.
Yep.
And the LAPD.
I don't think Christian was
retreated.
born yet.
Yeah. Nah.
No, it wasn't.
The LAPD retreated. That was a sad day for every man and woman who were proud to wear that LAPD badge, including myself. But the one thing that resonated with me, I never forgot. And I said this in recent articles, national and local news, we are not going to retreat.
Outstanding.
And those cops stood fast and didn't retreat here in the city of Detroit. So I had tremendous respect for these heroic men and women. I respect our community, and you brought it up. Our activists stood right with us.
Yep. Huge.
It's something else that I heard that you did, and you can expand on this and verify it for me. At one point, is it true that you had given your cops cell phones and then actually gave those numbers out to the community and said, hey, listen, if you have a problem inside of your community, this is your police officer. This is who you call.
Yeah.
And that mean
Absolutely.
talk about making that connection between, because now again, where somebody it makes it personal. You know what I mean? Because you put a police officer's face to these people and said, hey, listen, this is who you're going to be calling. You're not just going to get a random voice on the end of the phone. This is the guy you see at your community meetings. This is your cop. You call him. I mean, that's
your neighborhood. We call them NPOs, neighborhood police officers, and I got to tell you, Detroit community
that's awesome.
love the 59 neighborhood police officers we have across this city. I just met with all of them. In fact, yesterday, I met with them and just thanked them for what they do. Continuing to build the bridge.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But you also need that in large departments, it's hard to get guys that really want to see a program like that work. There's a lot of cops that take their details, their summons details, their community policing details, so they can have weekends off. They can write their own schedules. We had this thing called CPOP, Community Police Officer on Patrol, and the NYPD, and they did it for a couple of years. It didn't work because some of them, I think most of them cared, but they didn't really care. They weren't doing it to. It's like being a school cop. If you're a school cop, just so you get weekends off, then you shouldn't be a school cop. It's like being a nurse. If you're a nurse in a certain... So I have a friend that's a nurse in a cancer ward. It takes a special type of human being to be a nurse in a cancer ward, knowing that you're going to build a relationship with someone that you know is going to die. Yeah. Like, you really have to have a love for what you do and to bring something important to those people. And if you don't have that in a program like that, then it's pissing in the wind. You really got to have those men and women that truly believe in it to make it work.
And these cops, they believe it. They love it. I mean, I got to tell you, these 59 men and women, unbelievable. Oh, my God. I got to tell you, that's the first thing the community talks about and reveres. Who's my MPO?
Yeah.
My neighborhood police officer.
That's awesome.
I view them as the chief of police of their footprint, their neighborhood. They're the chief of police.
Yeah.
And they have done just such a wonderful job, I got to tell you. But it's not just that. I mean, I'm really, when I look at how these men and women deliver each and every day, and you know what? I tell you, I've had to make the bad decisions on cops that cross the line and been very public with it. And most cases, cops know, and they say, you know what? This is wrong. Should have done that.
Another program that a lot of folks are talking about, and I did a little research on this, and I know you take great pride in this program because I've read up on it, and it's as unique a law enforcement tool as I've ever seen is Project Greenlight. I mean,
Project Greenlight Detroit.
When I read up on this, Chief, I'm telling you, I did my research when we knew that you were coming on, and I knew enough about you, and I said, I like to do a little bit digging. And Project Greenlight, I've got a lot of notes on it, but honestly, I'm just going to give the ball to you and let these people know this program and what it's done and what it means, because it is honestly it's phenomenal. I'll stop talking. Please tell us about tell us about as if I never heard about it.
I got to tell you something. Unbelievable. So my staff know. They say I come in on Monday morning and say I had a dream. We're in trouble. I had a dream. So I had a dream. And I thought, we were having a problem in Detroit when I first got here. I've never seen this in any city I've worked. Carjacking. Nobody got excited about pulling people out of cars in the middle of the day at a traffic signal.
Unbelievable.
Who does that?
In Minneapolis, they do it. Yeah, they're carjacking left, right, and center.
But I got to tell you, that something was wrong with that. And so I started to do a deeper look, and they were happening at gas stations, liquor stores, places of opportunity.
Yep.
Primarily during hours of darkness. And I thought, let me get with some of these business owners. This is the infancy of Greenlight. And so I talked to a few business owners and said, look, we got too many carjackings, robberies, shootings at these gas stations. You want to be our partner? Absolutely. So I came up with this little idea about putting a green light as a safe location so that community would know that if you go to this location, it's a safe location, you'd be supported. That was the infancy of it. A small idea. But guess what? We took it to the next level. And the next level. So then we said, look, what if we put high definition cameras in these locations that has a direct feed in the headquarters into a state-of-the-art real-time crime center. So I started getting folks' attention. And then, after we started to launch voluntary program, right now we're up to in excess of 700 green light locations in Detroit.
Outstanding.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Detroiters love it, but here's the key. Let me give you one great example, and you know, I was the butt of criticism over facial recognition. But let me give you an example about how green light and facial recognition came together seamlessly. So we had a murder, several murders. So this was at an LGBTQ party. This individual went in and shot up at a party, shot 5 people, 3 of them fatal. Our detectives, you know, instinctively know. Well, and by the way, the suspect, when he came in to do the shooting, he was wearing a full mask. Full mask. So the people at the party couldn't identify him. They could only give a clothing description and his body build. So our detectives went about their business, started looking at green light in the area. Bingo, guess what happened? This violent suspect was at a green light gas station.
Taking a mask off.
And while he's at that green light, no, he was talking to 2 of the victims he later shot.
Oh, jeez.
So we looked at the clothing match, body build. We knew that the 2 individuals he was talking to, they are victims.
Yep.
So we got an image of them, put it through facial recognition, identified him, arrested him. He was charged with several counts of murder and attempt murder. Guess what? Convicted in jail.
Outstanding.
Nice.
That's simple.
And there are there are politicians fighting you. There's politicians fighting you on the use of that technology, the facial recognition technology. They're fighting you, saying we can't use the video. We can only use still images. Honestly, are you? Again,
no, we did use the still image. We used the still image.
Oh my God.
They got this narrative out there. Here's the other false narrative, that we're using real-time surveillance in our green light locations and facial recognition is running. That is untrue. Facial recognition is a standalone piece of software, and if a crime happens, let's say at a green light location, we take what's called a probe photograph of a video of a suspect. We put that still photograph into the software, and either we find the suspect or we don't.
Mm-hmm.
So, but see, the problem today, this is more about protecting the violent predators as opposed to our victims and their families.
Yes. 100%.
Come on, let's call it what it is.
100%.
and the numbers have to be there. I have to assume that the locations with the Project Greenlight that are participating in Project Greenlight, those locations, the crimes have to be coming down, right? If you're going to carjack someone at a gas station and you see that green light, because as stupid as the criminals are, they know what that green light means. They're not going to jack a guy or rob that gas station or the liquor store when they see that green light.
Right.
Our carjacking went down double digits.
Wow.
So suspects, they start doing their carjackings, and even carjackings, even with the rise in violence, robberies and carjackings are actually down still.
Jesus.
The bloggers should take notes.
Technology is amazing.
Yeah, but not only does it prevent those crimes from happening at those locations, that also, in the instance that you just gave, gives the police video and photos of people in the area. So if a crime happened a few blocks away, hey, that's 4 blocks away from a green light location. Let's take a look and see what's there.
Yep.
Maybe, and that's exactly what happened in the scenario
Tommy,
you just played out.
The bloggers should take notes about this.
You should take notes about this.
We have those that sit in leadership positions who are elected, who want us to get rid of our cameras, get rid of green light, and not use facial recognition.
It's unbelievable.
What's in their mind?
You know what? If you're a business owner, because the business does not pay a fee to the city. The technology from the city is there.
No.
The business owner is responsible for having high definition cameras and high speed internet and protecting their
That's
investment. So all they're doing is saying, "Hey, I'm going to
Exactly.
protect my investment on this end. You're our partner. You're going to do your job on
Right.
your end. You're going to watch these cameras when something happens."
That's
Like I
it.
said, you're not constantly monitoring because you couldn't have the manpower to.
Oh.
If there was 1,000 cameras, you couldn't possibly watch 1,000 cameras. But the minute they call 911,
But also- right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it works.
of course it works.
It's unbelievable.
And it also protects their customers. You know, we've had community groups protest businesses that didn't have green light, and so they would no longer patronize those businesses.
Oh, jeez.
We didn't. I mean, it's the most amazing thing ever.
And the other store owners, honestly, for the nominal investment for cameras, so if it costs you a couple $1,000s to put cameras in high speed internet, just the fact that you're not losing business, people aren't riding by going, "I'm not going in there." And there's certain areas that as a whole you might avoid, but when you see that green light, you feel another layer of security.
A
that
peace
you
of
might,
mind.
You might pop in and grab, a bag of chips and a soda, or gas up, or a bottle of booze, or a 6-pack, or whatever it is. You feel there's
Right.
an added level of security, and that for me, for a police officer, that's your job, right? Protecting life and property.
That's your job.
You've got a program that does that, and you're going to have people that are going to fight you on this. It just, again, it doesn't.
I don't know why.
It doesn't resonate in my brain. why
Me
why
neither.
you would want that?
I get an error message in my brain. Like, I don't. Why? Why?
Chris, there's a lot of things that send error messages to your
So
brain,
they
Chris.
put out signs, like there's signage involved in this also. It's not just a green light. There's signage that says, "Hey, you're in a green light
signage.
location."
So the little violent suspects come in and say, "Oh, not here." We've heard them say it. Not here.
And unfortunately, there's no way for any city to foot the bill for that for everything. So there's got to be some sort of again, it's a partnership between the business owners,
It's a partnership.
and so the department says we'll invest on our end for here. You have to invest on your end as well. There's cameras all
Right.
over the city of New York. We have these gun cameras that they respond to shots fired. They respond to the muzzle flash, and they send officers immediately. And that works to a degree. But you can't monitor every single gas station, every liquor store, every Walmart. It's impossible. So if you're a store owner, you take advantage of this opportunity and say, "Yeah, I want to be part of that."
Right.
And the more that get involved, the program expands. You hire more cops to man some of these cameras, and crime continues to go down. It's a no-brainer. You found a way to bring crime down, and yet they'll still kick you.
Well, not only did you,
Oh, yeah.
not only did you find a way to bring crime down, which, like you said before, you're bringing crime down at a time where it's ramping up all over the country. It's going in a complete opposite direction all over the country.
Yeah,
and you
just
still
because
managed
of
to make it.
mayors, they let it happen intentionally.
There's more than that,
Well,
bro.
it's-
I know, but I'm just saying. I'm just giving you the tip of the
There's-
iceberg.
There's more than that to that, but it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable the work that you're doing. Again, you definitely need to travel the country. You do need to travel the country and
Yeah.
start giving tutorials.
No, I'm not even kidding.
Yep. Lecture all these chief and mayors out there.
That's I think, Chief. I think that's your next job. I mean, it's great what you're doing there,
Well,
but to bring it other places.
I guess I got to find me a good attorney, and I know one's listening right now.
Well, all right.
Go
Listen,
ahead and get the proposal together. Get it together.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is the problem, though, is that you have great ideas, and then you're always going to run into a roadblock. For one reason or another, someone's going to say, and it doesn't take a whole lot of people to say, hey, one little snowflake that gets them twisted a little bit, and then it shuts it down. The politicians, the mayors, they pander, they bend the knee to one or two people when they do that, they're hurting thousands upon thousands of others by doing it. And you're very fortunate that the mayors that you've worked for did not do that, and especially the guy you're with now it seems like it's a match made in heaven because the numbers are coming down.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to love you. I mean, you have to have Sunday dinner with this guy, right? I mean, this is a good relationship you got,
we have
Chief.
fun. We had fun. I mean,
That's awesome.
You know, he was a former prostitute, so when I'm talking police, he understands it.
100%.
Which is a big deal.
I mean, I've worked in other cities. I remember, and I got to tell this story. It's kind of funny. So, remember when they had Occupy, Name the City?
Yeah,
Remember that?
exactly.
Yeah, pick one.
Remember that? So I was the chief in Cincinnati. And so Cincinnati had a city manager and a mayor. And so city manager and I told him, I said, you know, the business folks, they want these folks gone. I said, so I put together a plan. I said, at midnight, we're going to hit it. And he said, no problem. I support you. This is my direct boss. So at 5 minutes to midnight, the mayor called the city manager and said, look, I do not want us to be on national news because this police chief from L.A., he's going to go in there, and I got to believe they're going to start beating these poor occupied Cincinnati, which wasn't what we were going to do. But my point is, the mayor called it off out of fear. And certainly the city manager said, well, chief, you know, that's my boss, so I hope you can respect it. I said, I do. And the next day, the business community ripped the city manager and the mayor to shreds.
Nice.
Because they knew I wanted to go in there and handle the business. You just don't get to set up. You know, Occupy movement really is the precursor to what we see today with all this no cop zone stuff.
Yeah.
The people's movement.
Oh, 100%.
Well, you had Mallory, again, another Democratic mayor. But when you got there in 2010, homicides were, you got there in 11. Homicides in 2010 was 72. 11, there was 67. In 12, there were 53.
Wow.
All 7 majors, murder, rape, robbery, assault, GLAs, theft, burglary, all went down, right? And then the year you leave, they go right back up.
Oh, my God.
So
back up.
They go back up, of course. So again, you had the opportunity working with a Democratic mayor that allowed you to do what you wanted to do as a police chief, knowing that, listen, you know your job.
Well, he didn't want me. He didn't want me to take those occupied Cincinnati folks to jail.
Too
He
bad.
did not want that. That's my point.
Well, he obviously
So he
wasn't paying
called
attention
that
to the
off.
work that you've done before, because all your numbers are in line with.
No. He didn't want me to create a situation, but now the business community, I'm talking about Procter & Gamble, American Financial, Kroger's, all headquartered in Cincinnati. They applauded the chief and the department. The board, they shredded the mayor.
Well, he also came from a family of politicians. His father, I think, was a congressman for like 20-something years. It was like the Robert the Bruce in Braveheart, right? Robert the Bruce wanted to do one thing, and the old man that was rotting away upstairs of leprosy, just circumnavigated him and got things done otherwise. So he came from a lifetime.
Can I tell you something? I'm impressed with you. You do your homework.
Well, wait, we haven't even gotten to the pop.
homework.
We haven't even gotten to the pop quiz for you, Chief. I listen again. Like I said, you got a lot of your guys are involved.
I know what you're gonna ask me next.
No.
I know what you're gonna ask me.
No. Listen.
Wait, before
I
he,
was
be-
just
before
pulled up on the cover of American Freedom. Is that what you want to ask?
No,
How did
wait.
you end up on the cover?
No, listen.
In our
I'll let Tommy. I'll let Tommy go first.
No,
but then
I was just going to comment that this is the work of a New York City police detective. We don't ask questions we don't know the answers to, and we research the daylights out of it because we don't want to look like a fool when you're standing up in front of the judge or in front of a district attorney, prosecutor, or a defense attorney. So you need to have your ducks in order. You know, when I do my stuff, I need to make sure I got what I got so that we we're productive here.
So
Thank you for that compliment.
So one of your best. We'll call him Sergeant Slaughter, who, by the way, has a ton of respect for you. Made me promise him that I would ask you 3 questions. And again, we said we wouldn't get into your politics, but I didn't say we wouldn't get into your loyalties.
Oh, geez.
So your guys got to know, is it Lafayette or American Coney Island? If you got to think, Chief, if you got to think about it, no, we need it shot out of a cannon now. Lafayette,
Okay, I'm gonna shoot out of the pen.
Lafayette, American Coney Island.
American.
Go American.
Go American. All right. So I hope you listen to that.
I gotta say it.
Is it?
Don't ask me about the chili in Cincinnati.
Listen. Is it Verner's? Is it Verner's or is it Fago?
Oh, well, I don't drink pop, is what they call soda in Detroit.
Right.
But if I had to make a choice, I'd probably go with Verner's.
Verner's. That's a very good choice. I support you in that one because every time your guys come out to visit, that is their one standing order is they have to bring 12 packs of Verner's with them. Everybody else bringing alcohol. No, the Detroit guys are coming. We need cases of Verner's. You got to bring.
You're 2 for 2, Chief. 2 for 2.
So far, 2 for 2. This is it now. Capers or cutters?
2 for 2. Wait, go back again.
Capers or cutters?
Ooh, wee.
Yeah.
I'm going cutters. We're gonna go with.
Oh, all right. I think that was. I'm pretty sure that's what they said you were going to go with. And the last one. This is the biggest one though. All right. So this one you cannot mess up. Is it pork roll or is it Taylor ham?
Wait. Well, you broken up. What'd you say?
Is it pork roll or is it Taylor ham? Listen, I don't even know if you have that out in Detroit.
Yeah, it's called bacon. Just eat bacon.
It is not bacon.
Bacon, period. No, don't complicate the
I'm not
things.
a bacon man. Look at me, man. I'm a health guy.
It is.
I might eat some turkey and.
Turkey and egg whites, right?
Bacon.
Turkey and egg whites, no
but
cheese.
If I am going to eat some bacon, I'll have the center cut because it has the less saturated fat.
So it's neither. It's not pork roll or Taylor ham because they both suck. It's bacon.
Well, no, listen, Chief. Listen.
Turkey bacon.
Just promise me when you come to Jersey and you take over an department, A, you accept laterals, and B, that you will call it pork roll. Just promise me because it really Taylor is the brand. Taylor is the brand. Pork roll is the product.
Taylor's pork roll.
Okay. Got it.
Excuse me,
Oh, go ahead.
Chief.
My buddies in Newark, New Jersey Police Department. Newark,
Yes.
Chief.
top notch.
Yes.
Okay.
Chief. Based on what you just said during the whole segment, your experience as in this position, do you have hope for the city of Detroit? Do you have hope that Detroit will at least go back to its not just its glorious days, but go back to stability economically and also when it comes to crime, almost non-existent? Do you have that hope?
Well, it can't be non-existent, but
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like a very low point of crime. I'm referring to.
Let me just say, it's happening. I mean, COVID and the protests certainly slowed everything down, but before COVID, let me just say this: Detroit is on a surge. This city, in the 7 years, the investment. Chrysler Corporation or FCA is building a new plant here in the city of Detroit. Why? Because they believe in this city. Dan Gilbert, who owns the Cleveland Cavaliers and Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage, invests in the city of Detroit. There are major banks moving back into the city center. So I say that to say, this city, it's coming fast. And, it's unfortunate we had to deal with, the pandemic. That certainly has had an impact on this city, like so many cities. Some of the cities have been ravaged by the violent protests. And again, Detroit was a beacon of light because we didn't have looting. We didn't have buildings being burned. Yes, we had a few of our scout cars damaged. We had a few officers hurt from these domestic terrorists that were throwing and hurling projectiles. But by and large, in comparison, we are that beacon of light. And so when you talk about hope, guess what? We're there. This is the city. And I've always loved this city. Always loved this city. Even when I left after being laid off as a police officer here and went to Los Angeles, I held on to the love I had for this city, and I still have today.
And
people say, Chief, you can go anywhere you want to be the chief of police. I said, don't want it. I get calls all the time. especially from police officers, we wish you would come to. I said, even Cincinnati folks will call me and say, we wish you would come home.
Please come back. Please come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, you need it there.
I'm home. I'm in Detroit. Look, I love New York. I love Chicago. I love L.A. But guess what? I got only one real home, and that's the city of Detroit.
And you
Amen.
brought up COVID. You actually beat the COVID. You got through this, right?
I'm a COVID.
You're a COVID survivor.
Yep.
God damn.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
I had at one point 650 officers quarantined.
Jesus.
How many?
650.
650
God.
quarantined.
Whoa.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it ravaged at the peak. COVID hit this department bad.
I mean, you got about 20. You got about 2,500. 2,500 cops there.
Yeah, about
So
28 with
28
civilians
and 600 at one
28
point.
foreign civilians.
That's
Yeah.
that's
I had
insane.
to. What I needed to do, and I was at the time I did this, I was actually quarantined with COVID, and I had to redirect our resources from our specialized support units into patrol. Didn't miss a beat. Did not miss a beat. This is the kind of cops we have here in Detroit.
you got
Dedicated.
You have great cops. You have great cops. I'll tell you, our charity
Oh
came
my
out.
God.
Our charity
I
came
just
out
hope
there.
some of them are listening.
Listen,
I hope some of them are listening because
Oh, they are.
I got to tell you, the best of the best.
yeah, we
And, I work for LAPD, and I love LA. Don't make no mistake, I love the LAPD. I spent 28 years in LA. But if any of my LA families out there listening, just know this. I've gone to the mountaintop.
yeah, Chief, we came out. The charity came out after Dawson Weathers passed away, and that's where we really started to connect with your guys out there. And I'm telling you, you have an impressive bunch of guys. You really do.
Yeah.
And to be operating the way they're operating now through this time where you're seeing, I mean, morale across the country is just horrendous right now.
That's about-
And to have your guys, still operate. And I mean, again, that speaks volumes of what they think about their job. It speaks volumes about what they think about you, because he wouldn't be getting that productivity. And
No, not at all.
as somebody that's still active, from all the decades that you've been around this game, when do you see this coming back? I know the big thing you always hear, the pendulum's going to swing. The pendulum's going to swing back. As somebody that's still active, I look at it and I can't see it swinging back in my career time. I can't see it like to a time where not only are cops active, but cops are active and supported by their community the way that you're seeing it in your city. I mean, across the country. I don't. When do you see that happening? I mean, is that something that's going to happen November 4th? Or is that something that's going to happen
10 years from now.
Yeah.
Well, I think each city has its different challenges. Thank God that we're not dealing with the top elected leader in New York. Thank God we're not dealing with the top elected leader in Los Angeles. And for those who just leaks back, I don't care. I mean, it is what it is.
No, I honestly, Chief, I think they would be complimented by you saying that. I can't believe that they don't, purposely set out to undermine law enforcement. So I think they would be complimented by you saying that.
Well, it's a sad day. Again, I applaud this community here because they love the cops. They know. And these outside agitators, it's time for them to go home. We're in week 10. They don't speak for Detroit. They come from all over the country, come from outside the city of Detroit. And they think that they can speak for Detroiters. And Detroiters are fed up. And I don't have to do anything because Detroit is basically dealing with this. And so, but this whole, when will it come back? We're in some very difficult times right now.
Yes.
I mean, you know, whenever an officer used deadly force today, presumption, bad shooting. And that's shameful.
Yep.
And let me break this out for you. So not only is the use of deadly force by law enforcement today presumed to be a bad shoot, but oh my God, if the officer's white and the suspect African American, it was a racist act.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, it's shameful because I have buried so many, both African American and white cops, who have worked in this city and who have made the ultimate sacrifice because they cared deeply for creating a safe environment for all.
Yep.
It had nothing to do with race. It had nothing to do with race. But yet, we don't talk about those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And that's shameful.
Doesn't fit their narrative.
I heard
100%.
you go through the recent list. You know, I lost one member to COVID here. You know, I talk about our most recent, you know, officer-involved shooting that involved a mentally ill person. And it's sad. I mean, the system failed him. You know, July 4th, he was a barricaded suspect. Mentally ill person. And we ended up arresting him, taking him into what we call our crisis center at a local hospital. And he was then released within a day. Now, I got to believe he didn't get the kind of treatment he needed, because within weeks, he's in the middle of a street in the city of Detroit like a ninja, waving a sword and daggers, and then charge one of my officers.
Yeah, we spoke about that last week, that very incident.
And so it's tragic.
But you hit it right on the head, though. Here you had a guy that was brought in for a mental checkup and was given a clean bill of health, a smack on the ass, and said, go back out there. How many of those have not been seen by somebody? And that's the bigger problem. As bad as it is, the ones that are identified, how about the ones that are not identified?
I don't think he got a clean bill of health. I'm telling you, the system's broken. My friend, the sheriff of the Wayne County, where Detroit sits, 70 to 80% of his jail population is what? Suffering from mental illness. So is the jail the place that we treat the mentally ill?
No.
But when one is not treated and demonstrates violent behavior, clearly it's going to become a law enforcement issue or concern.
Always.
It always does. It always does. It always falls on our lap again because the programs aren't in place or the identification process is not in place.
I can't count the time. I mean, how many times you EDP somebody and you see him again walking the street 8 hours later, 12 hours later, the same guy, and they're
it's a guy you
one
see
violent
every day.
incident
You
away.
see that guy every day, and you
Correct.
know that there's something wrong.
Right.
But is it funding? Is it programs? It's so many different reasons why we can point the finger.
It's
in 1,000
scapegoat the
different
cops.
places.
There's no money. It's no funding. It's scapegoat the cops. That's what it is.
It's someone else's problem. They
Right.
push it onto the police and they say let them deal with it, and then something like this happens, and then all of a sudden they're rioting.
I just hope that your platform, this podcast, goes beyond the brave men and women who listen to this. I hope that some of the cowards who sit in elected seats are listening.
We're trying, Chief.
It's time for them to step up and confront the domestic terrorists who are permeating our nation. When is that going to happen?
No.
Voting.
Yep.
Voting.
That's
Voting.
Now you sound like Chris. We had a sitting congressman on last week, and that was Chris's big question. Why are we not going after them? Now, I listen. I agree, and I believe that according to the congressman, there are things in motion that we may not be privy to right now, and I guess I have to, we have to trust that system. But I don't know how much more damage, we can withstand.
We can't wait any longer. That's the thing.
How much more can we withstand as a
Look what's
country?
happening in New York.
Yeah.
Look at what's happening in New York. Police officers are retiring before or resigning before their retirement.
Were you saying, Tommy, 1,000 a month?
They're doing about 1,000 a month, 400, around 400 a week the last couple of weeks.
And so, when is the elected leaders of that city going to stand up and say, "Wait a minute, is it me, or do you really care?"
Right. Well,
then we talk about defunding or defunding. I'm looking at Fox News right now, and they just took a substantial amount of Seattle's budget. When you defund the police, and I'm gonna close out on this note because I think it's important to say this. When you defund the police, every police administrator knows this. Anywhere between 70 to 85 of our budget is what? Staffing costs.
Yep.
So if you're going to defund, you're going to have to eliminate police positions. Look, the protesters, I agree. There are things that we as law enforcement shouldn't even have to do. But we do it because if we don't do it, who's going to do it?
Right.
So they just dump more and continue to dump on us.
Yep.
I understand that. But you don't say defund and then move the money over to, no, get the money to somewhere else. I believe that the mentally ill need to be serviced.
I agree.
I believe that there needs to be programming for our youth in inner cities. I believe that. But it's not the police. And when you talk to people who live in the community, especially those communities that experience a lot of violence, not one of them will talk about we want the police to go away. But see, the ACLU, on the other hand,
they're the demons out there.
Who don't live in these communities.
Yep.
I guess they're just going to speak for the people who live in these impoverished neighborhoods.
Yeah,
really?
the same ACLU.
Spend a week.
The same ACLU that wanted to
what they're going through.
They wanted to argue for the usage of body cameras. All cops should have body cameras on. Everybody should have body cameras on. And then when the body camera footage started coming out and it wasn't fitting their narrative, like, well, wait a minute. No, you using these body cameras are violating citizens' rights. Like, wait a minute.
ACLU lives in La La Land, all right? They live in this bubble, this ponytail La La Land dream.
Can't win.
Yeah. Nope.
But, I got to tell you, I've enjoyed my time with you all. I hope
Chief, we listen. Thank you.
We appreciate the time.
It's been an honor.
The message that that we're getting across, and like you said earlier, we hope this isn't just a secular show, and then we can reach out to people that really need to hear this message. Do you have any organizations or any programs that you'd like to plug before we let you go?
And you know what? I plug one place. City Detroit.
God.
I plug, and I got to tell you, I want to also give a lot of credit to our unions, our Detroit Police Officers Association, Lieutenants and Sergeants Association, Command Officers Association, who really, some more than others. And if DPOA is listening, I got to tell you, the LSA, the Lieutenants and Sergeants, have been very vocal in standing up and supporting what we do each and every day. This is not the time to be fearful. This is the time. It shouldn't be just the chief speaking. I certainly applaud that union leader out of Seattle, who is the conscience of law enforcement, speaking out in a bold and courageous way. I think about the union leadership out of New York, who speaks up in a loud and conscious way. but it shouldn't be just chief of police.
No, it should be. You're right. It should.
And I know there are many-
Well, they politicize it, and they're all worried about what the next election's going to bring, or the next. And you really can't allow politics to really deter law enforcement. Law enforcement needs to be separate from politics.
This is about the people, and frankly, you know, we serve the people. They count, and it's an injustice to them. And then let's think about these victims, these families who are ravaged. You know, I'm going to continue to beat this drum as hard as I can beat it. I appreciate you giving me a platform to do it.
No, let's listen.
I just hope the people that need to hear it are listening.
For your guys that are listening, we're going to end this segment. The last thing that I promised is for you to tell us about Recon, and then we'll take it out on that. So, yeah, go ahead, Chief.
What a great leader. Recon, SWAT officer, well respected. I promoted him up when I got to Detroit. He was a sergeant, promoted to lieutenant, and then ultimately promoted him to the rank of captain. Put him over our homicide team. It's no secret. The homicide team, compared to many other places, our numbers say it all. This guy was a leader. People would follow him. And I'll never forget when he got hit with COVID. I spoke to him just before his untimely death. In fact, I don't know, maybe I contracted it from Recon because it wasn't long after that I got sick. Because I met with Recon weekly, more than weekly, almost daily, because, you know, we have a lot of issues here. But the man was a leader. He was a warrior and just respected. When you talk about leadership, he'll never be forgotten. But I know he's looking down, smiling, and said, "Go get him, Chief. Go get him."
That's awesome.
And he was a great man. So he truly will be missed, but his legacy lives.
That's
well,
awesome.
Thank you for taking us out on that note. It's always good to hear great words about those that we lost. So we appreciate all you've given us tonight, what you've given the audience, what you continue to do. Wish nothing but success, continued success in what you're doing, and hopefully we see you on
in New Jersey.
Hopefully
we see you in New Jersey for some pork roll. Exactly.
Hopefully these chiefs and the commissioners take a page from your book, Chief.
They're my friends out in Newark. I hope some of my friends in Newark.
Listen, we had the FOP president is also in our charity, and I'm sure he's probably listening as we speak. So yeah, Jimmy Stewart Jr.
Yeah.
We got some good restaurants in Newark.
They definitely have pork roll in Newark. They definitely have pork roll. Not Taylor ham. Taylor ham doesn't even exist on this planet. Chief, God bless you. Seriously, thank you for giving us your time.
Thanks for calling. Take care.
All right, Chief. Be safe.
Take it easy, Chief.
All right, thank you. Y'all be safe.
God bless you.
All right, Godspeed.
God bless you.
All right, guys.
All right.
We're gonna take a quick short 4-minute break. Piss and pizza. Maybe just pee.
No, chicken, actually.
Chicken. We got chicken tonight. All right, good enough. All right, we'll be back in 4.
All right.
Jacob, take us out.
All right.
Searching for a doctor that truly cares about your overall health and well-being? Contact Dr. Alex at Tri-State Health and Wellness. For more than 11 years, Dr. Alex has been treating law enforcement professionals and their families while focusing on one-on-one care so you never feel rushed. All necessary testing can be conducted during your visit, and they feature flexible hours and appointments to accommodate alternating work schedules. Tri-State Health and Wellness is conveniently located in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Contact Dr. Alex today by visiting www.bluetristate.com. Mortgages for everyday heroes. From Michelle Hendershot and Homebridge Financial Services. If you're looking to purchase a home or refinance an existing mortgage, Michelle Hendershot can assist you every step of the way. With over 10 years of experience assisting law enforcement officers with their dream of owning a home, The choice is simple. Contact Michelle Hendershot today. Visit www.mortgagesforblue.com. Are you tired of sleeping alone each night? Feeling sluggish during the day? Is your snoring keeping your spouse awake at night? If you find yourself spending too much time on the couch, maybe it's time to visit Dr. Michael Doblin of At Home Sleep Solutions. Dr. Doblin is the preferred sleep apnea doctor of New Jersey's law enforcement officers. With the help of a custom-fitted oral device, you can finally say goodbye to noisy, antiquated sleep apnea machines. For more information and to schedule an appointment today, contact Dr. Michael Doblin. Visit www.bluesnore.com. If chronic pain is preventing you from leading a full and active lifestyle, then it's time to visit Oasis Spine and Orthopedic Specialists. As a Blue-friendly service provider, Oasis understands that each person's situation is unique and that each person's healing plan needs to be customized for individual injuries and conditions. Featuring board-certified and fellowship-trained physicians, Oasis Spine and Orthopedic Specialists will have you back on your feet and back in the game. Schedule your appointment today by visiting www.blueorthopedic.com. Moment of Silence, Inc., along with Blue Suicide, is a nonprofit organization founded to support and raise awareness about the epidemic of suicides amongst law enforcement, military personnel, and first responders. For more information on how you can help, visit momentofsilenceinc.org. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a certified used vehicle, then visit Fetty Auto Group, located at the junction of Route 46 and Route 3 in Clifton, New Jersey. Fetty Auto Group stands shoulder to shoulder with the men and women in blue. Stop by and ask for Troy Mall and ask about the offers for first responders. For more information, visit FettyAuto.com. That's FettyAuto.com. The Blue Magazine, the law enforcement publication by law enforcement professionals for the men and women of law enforcement. The unfiltered voice of law enforcement. TheBlueMagazine.com. Are you patrolling with the pig? If not, you're doing it wrong. Check out all the newest swine swag at ProudPig.blue. They are dirty by design. Check it out now. Visit www.proudpig.blue for all your swine swag. Visit www.proudpig.blue. Line of Duty Cigars, owned and operated by retired NYPD Detective Tom Werther. Visit lineofdutycigars.com for our handmade Nicaraguan cigars, custom ashtrays, custom humidors, and custom flask sets. Also, when you place an order, you choose the law enforcement, first responder, or veteran charity, and Line of Duty Cigars donates 10% to that organization. Planning a special event? Contact us today. Visit www.lineofdutycigars.com. And now, back to the program.
And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Chris is heavy breathing. He just made it back from the chicken. Look at him. Take a breath.
It's running down his chin.
Take a breath. Get a
Well,
breath.
I've never seen anybody eat so much
I'm
rice
okay,
so fast.
You're OJ. Just get a breath. You all right? All right.
I'm okay, bro.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Do we have a
How
caller?
old-
Do we have a caller online? All right,
Nope.
guys. So
I'm here.
I don't know if you guys. A couple of months ago, we had a special guest call in. Spent some time with this Sergeant Matthew Schoolfield from the Chickasha Police Department. He was shot in the line of duty. After months and months and months of rehabilitation, he was basically told, "You're out of a job. We're done with you. Take care, brush your hair." A lot of people fought for him to get his job back, to at least have the opportunity to get his job back. But he was, in the end, he was forced out. And we have Matthew back on the phone with us. Matt, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, brother, how are you, man?
How's it going, brother?
It's good to talk to you again.
I'm doing pretty good.
How's it going?
How are y'all?
We're doing great, man. I know your boy Shane. He left his position. He's got another job, which is great. So he's continuing to fight the good fight. That's nice to hear.
Yep.
Yeah, no. Shane's awesome. You, yeah, that's an awesome friend. Chris, what do you... This guy.
This guy.
Yeah.
So apparently, your wife was part of this. What we're going to talk about here, and there's a handful of politicians there in Oklahoma that wrote and pushed and got passed the Sergeant Schoolfield Line of Duty Disability Act.
That is correct.
And from what I understand, the bill modifies the disability pension standard for police officers who are members of the Oklahoma Police Pension and Retirement System. So obviously you were obviously treated unfairly, and you guys fought to make sure that anyone in this system would not be treated the way you were treated.
Correct.
Can you point out some of the major differences in what was what was and what is now?
So before we got the bill passed through legislation, I'd have to completely finish all my medical stuff and then submit all my documentation to the Police Pension Board for review, and then they would set up their own appointment with the doctor, and they would evaluate everything and evaluate me as a whole. And at that point, I would be given a disability rating or percentage, and I would be paid accordingly to that percentage.
Oh.
The bill went into effect, covers people who are violently injured in the line of duty, and if you're unable to return to work, then you're automatically 100%.
Awesome.
But you were only slightly injured, though, right?
Yeah, well, so people have a full understanding of what even landed you here. Matt, take them through the whole incident, because for people to understand how absurd your job acted,
and the fact that you had to fight for this.
It gives me a migraine. Yeah, take everybody through the whole incident so they understand why this is as absurd as it was.
So September of 2017. We had a violent crime happen in Chick-fil-A during patrol on day shifts. That secured the outside of the residence, couldn't get anybody to answer the door, but they knew he was inside. So they set on the house and got a search warrant to execute. Due to the nature of the crime and some of the other information that they received in their investigation, they decided to use a tactical team to execute the search warrant. So after, briefing and equipment checks and all that, we rolled to execute the search warrant on the residence. There's some detached property or structures on the property also. They had to be cleared prior to the main residence where we were trying to detain the suspect in question. So once that was all done, I was the number one man for the entry team on the primary residence. And the fact that we knew he was in there, we were actually going to breach the door but hold and try to call him out, give him a chance to come out on his own to talk to us. So when we knocked and announced search warrant on the door repeatedly and we didn't get any answer, breachers called up to the door. Breacher, real big, strong guy. We got some pretty good equipment for breaching doors. It took him 4 hits or so before the door even budged. And then when the door finally broke free, usually when you breach a door and it breaks free, it just flings wide open. Well, this door only went roughly a foot or two maybe. So I already knew something was wrong. So I immediately started yelling barricaded. I gave the door a push or kick. I can't remember exactly which one, just to verify there was something preventing the door from open. And the next thing I heard was a gunfire. And after that, I woke up on the ground. I think I was unconscious for roughly a minute. And at that point, I realized I was severely injured. And with the gunfight still going on above me and around me, I was laying on top of my weapon. My right arm was pretty much severed below the elbow.
Jesus Christ.
So I couldn't even get to my sidearm, which was on a drop leg on my right leg. And with the amount of fire that's coming out, I didn't try to get to my tourniquet, which I don't think I could have anyway. But I knew it was best I got out of there before I continued to bleed, because I was losing a lot of blood.
Jesus. Wow. And this is the guy who has to fight. You understand?
Yeah, for a disability pension.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Again, if there was ever a case, right? Like, you wouldn't even have to just show the pictures. Should be enough.
It's unbelievable.
But the fact that you got to stand before, I mean, this is before state assembly or state Congress. Where did you present this bill to?
Are you talking about the pictures that went live today?
No, the fact that the bill was introduced to the House of Representatives for Oklahoma.
Yeah, I had to go through the House and then the State of Representatives over in the Senate, and then it goes to the floor for a vote before it can go to the governor.
Wow.
So where is it now?
It's been signed and approved.
Oh, it's done. It's finished. The governor signed off.
Yeah, when 11
Yeah,
11-0 it passed with, right? 11-0.
An anonymous vote.
Yep.
Again, the fact that you guys had to go through that, how is that not even a law in every state? How is this an act like this bill, not across the boards?
That's what I'm saying.
You know, I didn't realize, or maybe I never thought about it and looked into it, what would happen if I got severely injured in the line of duty in a shootout or anything like that. You know, I retired with Oklahoma National Guard in 2018. I was still currently serving with them, but I had to retire due to my injuries. And I kind of thought it would be like the military. If I'd have got injured while I was deployed overseas, that I would be discharged out medically and have 100% retirement. Yeah. But that's not the case for most states that we find out.
Again, that's not something you would even look into when you take that job. You just assume that, hey, I'm acting in good faith. God forbid I get I'm disabled. I'm injured in the line of duty to the point where I can never work again. That the state or the city or the municipality you work for is going to do the right thing. And the fact that you had to fight for that, it should have been just common, and it was common knowledge that it would have been. That's why you don't look into that. You wouldn't.
I have no words, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's
like I have a question. Sergeant Schofield, were you skeptical when you introduced the bill to? Like, did you have? Were you optimistic, or would you did you felt skeptical if the bill will pass or no? How do you feel at that moment?
We were pretty optimistic, and try to stay positive about it. There were some hurdles that my wife and them had to jump over initially to get it going. But once it got going, it seemed like it was going through smoothly. And then this COVID stuff all happened, so the Capitol shut down to limited function up there pretty much, and the bill has to be heard on the floor and voted on the floor before it can go. And it was getting to a point where it didn't look like we were going to get heard on the floor, but we had a lot of people up there with some of the representatives pushing and other people behind the scenes, and it made it to the floor and got heard. So it got scary there in the end because of the virus stuff. And, with what's going on now around the country and in society, if we were trying to push it through now, I can't imagine.
Sure.
Right.
I think it'd be a lot harder right now.
But also the challenge of getting the right people behind it. So you get certain people that I'm going to do this. It's like you're going to run a party. Hey, you want to come? Yeah, I'm going to come. And then when it comes time to show up, they don't show up.
Yep.
The politicians are infamous. Yeah, I support you. I got this. And then when it comes time to sign on the dotted line and actually stand in front of you or behind you to defend that bill, they're 90 zebra. They're gone.
It's 50-50 chance.
So you to choose the right people and have the right backing, obviously was key. Again, because right now it's not cool to support the police. How long did this take? When did this process start for you guys?
Oh shoot, we've been working on it for about a year probably.
So actually, that's not bad considering a year is not bad. But like I said, if you wanted to introduce it now, it may not get passed. Unfortunately,
no. Yeah, no.
But we'll give a shout out to your wife, Jonna. She had posted it earlier today that it got passed, and we jumped all over it. So she was obviously was stumping for you. Get stumped? Get that?
Yep,
she was
she was
stumping.
the pusher on this. She did a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. And she's the reason that it caught our eye today earlier to say, "Hey, wow, this is really great. Let's talk about it. Let's spread the good news." Especially as a friend of the show and someone that we've had on, and this is Now, is this retroactive to you? Does this affect you personally at this point, or is this going forward?
It It did affect me because I'm still in the medical process. I'm not even done and released from the
Gotcha.
doctors yet.
All right, great. That's great. That's good to hear.
Awesome.
So all I had to do when the bill went effective July 1, so all I had to do was submit my documentation and the incident reports showing that I was actually injured in the line of duty, that I was unable to return to work as a police officer, and then they made their determination shortly after that.
That's outstanding. Outstanding. With surgery 10 coming up, we're talking about it on the way
I should
up.
have surgery.
He's got his 10th surgery
Wow.
coming up. When's that scheduled for?
Right now, I had to have an orthogram MRI last week so they could see my shoulder better. I had to follow up with the doctor on Wednesday. So now it's just the part where they've deemed they need to go in and do surgery. So they'll send that all over to workers' comp for approval, and then they'll schedule me. It should be in the next week or two.
Wow.
Yeah, at this point, you're like, yeah, whatever. You want to operate, fine. Just do it. If you can fix something that's not working, fix it. You're not going to fight them.
Why the? How do I say it?
Oh, what is he having fixed? Is that what you were going to
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
him?
yeah.
That's how you say
All
it,
I
Chris.
heard, all I heard was waka waka waka.
Yeah. What are you having fixed, Chris? That's what you wanted to ask him. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Matt, Chris wanted to ask you what you're having fixed.
So they were able to reattach my hand and all that to my arm on the right side. So the reconstruction went fairly well, but with the bones and all the nerves being severed, they had to reconnect that. I got a lot of hardware in there. So I have very limited movement with my fingers. My thumb's kind of come along. It just doesn't have the dexterity to come across and do a lot of things. So I'm able to grasp some lighter, smaller things. I just don't have a lot of grip strength, but I can't really feel anything. I'm starting to get some sensation, but it's mainly to like hot or cold water, things like that I can feel. So through this time, I've really depended on my left arm to do everything. I drive, get dressed, bathe, go to the bathroom, eat, anything I got to carry or lift or move has been my left arm, and my shoulders just kind of deteriorated over. See, September will be 3 years. My left shoulder started acting up around November of 2019 or so. So they started me on some physical therapy and things like that, and realized I was having some fraying in my labrum and my rotator cuff, and that I got an impingement up there that they want to try to free up and clean that up so that I don't get any more damage and I can move my shoulder better.
So your left arm is like Popeye, and your right arm is like Christian's arm. Is what you're saying?
What's wrong with my arm?
What's wrong with your arm, Chris?
Nothing.
What are you doing on that phone? Show me that phone right now. Show me that phone right now. What are you doing? What are you doing?
What?
See, this is bullshit.
I know. Matt, if you saw what we have to deal with Christian here, it is.
He's playing a video game.
It's a labor. It's a labor of
Why
love.
would I play a video game in the show, bro?
It's a
Why?
labor. It's a labor of love. Listen, we're gonna get you and Shane up here. I know you guys were supposed to come for Police Week this year, and that was I would again. I'm not a COVID conspiracist,
But
for everybody listening, I'm not a COVID conspiracist. But I will say that it was appropriately canceled. Police Week. We're gonna get you guys up here.
Something that I missed on.
Whether it's not until Police Week 21. You guys
or
still
some other
absolutely-
event that might happen before then. Who knows?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well, I look forward to it.
Just
No,
saying.
I'm just here, and honestly, you're a monster, man. I mean, what you went through. We talked about it on the way up. I said that you got strength on a lot of levels, man. Levels that everybody hopes they have, but until that bell rings, you don't have any unanswered questions anymore. You got that strength.
On that note, I think it all boils down to that old saying, military and otherwise, that you always fall to the level of your training. So luckily for me in my life, I've been on 3 combat deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan. So I've seen some things. I've been around injuries similar to what I had, maybe not caused by a gunshot wound, but explosions, things like that. and I've just been able, to experience and be trained fairly well because I'd already been in the military for, at that point, 18, 19 years. And then in 2016, I went to SWAT school at Oklahoma County and become part of the TAC team and continued on my tactical training and all the medical that goes with that. So I really believe, that my training and timing and experiences helped me get through that, because I could have easily just panicked and went into shock on that porch instead of crawling out there on my own and bled out. But the mindset at that point, I knew I needed to stay calm, control my breathing, keep my heart rate down as best as possible, and get out of there so nobody else would get hurt trying to get to me, or the fact that I could get the treatment I needed.
So what you're saying is, if you were in Beirut a couple of days ago, you'd have been fine.
No, jeez.
No, what happened in Beirut is horrible, man.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, and listen,
Schofield would have walked out of the middle of that cloud of dust just walking through. I'm okay, guys.
For anybody that thinks that was a fireworks, I think they kept fireworks in that warehouse.
No, talking about fireworks, right? In 2013, have you seen the explosion that happened in China at a firework factory?
Chris, Matt has no interest in your fireworks.
But I'm saying that.
Matt has
all
no
I'm saying
interest.
is the explosion is very similar.
All I'm
to
saying
what
is that
happened
sparklers are pretty.
The explosion magnitude that happened in China.
I used to shoot bottle rockets out of my butt.
Chris,
compared to Beirut is very similar. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry.
But I don't think it's fireworks. What happened in Beirut?
Chris, at this point, you could.
Sorry, Matt. Sorry.
Yeah, Matt. Welcome to our world, Matt. This is what it is. This is
what happens in the last half hour.
We spend the whole time trying to manage the thoughts that run through Chris's brain. Is there anything else, Chris, or can we move on?
Yeah. I have a question. Another question to him.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Honestly, when a police officer, an officer, a sergeant, detective, goes through an injury on the line of duty, right? It's common to know by default that the benefits should be compensated to that officer that has been injured, right? Its disability should not be withheld. Have we reached to a point where a bill needs to be introduced to ring the bell of the minds of politicians that benefits should not be withheld?
He's literally asking the same question that Tommy asked.
I want to
Deep
move.
breaths, Tommy.
I want to move my chair closer to the wall so I could bang it off of the wall.
Do it now. But I'm saying, have we reached to that point though? And why?
Still asking the same question.
I know he really is.
All right, Matt. Listen. Listen. You have anything? I'm sorry. What do you got?
Go ahead, Matt.
I think a lot of it, you have a lot of agencies, that aren't real big. At Chick-fil-A, we're supposed to have 30 to 40 uniformed officers. So, in their history, the amount of severely injured officers in the line of duty, they don't experience things like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of them really don't know what to do when it happens. Because even when I was in the hospital, the city manager and all of them were promising me, hey, don't worry about it. You'll always have a job. No matter the outcome, you'll have a job. Don't worry about anything. So, you kind of relax at that moment and think, okay, they're going to take care of me. And then when you start getting to the point where medical's continuing on, it's been so long, now they're trying to make a decision whether they want to keep you or not. And you're like, what happened to all those promises?
Yep. Well, the beauty of this bill, though, it's statewide. Like you guys have introduced a bill that covers the whole state. Every police officer that's in the state pension system, you guys have just protected. And unfortunately, it took an incident like this to get that ball rolling. This could be something that could get the ball rolling in other states that don't have it. So what you guys you didn't this was not a personal I need to help myself thing. This was let's protect all my brothers and sisters in this state, and hopefully that will go into other states. You wouldn't know that, and most smaller agencies wouldn't officers wouldn't know that. Like you wouldn't have known that. You said you didn't know it. You just assumed that God forbid you got injured like that you were going to be taken care of. And now we had
a lot of help.
Yep.
You know, we had a lot of help because the VIPO organization, Violent Injured Police Officer Association, with Mario Oliver and all them reached out. And then some people, that good friends of his, Debbie and Phil Roselle, have been instrumental in helping us get this stuff going here in Oklahoma.
Well, we need to get other people involved. Obviously, I think maybe outside of the state, maybe your congressmen and senators that represent the state can begin to work with other congressmen or people and senators from other states to make sure that that's happening. I mean, right, like I said, right now, earlier we said that we got the crosshairs on us, and no one's really in a rush to look out for the police officer today.
At all.
And you guys started the year earlier, so you had that momentum, which was great. But how do we get it to go forward? How do we get the other states that are in the same place that you were to get on board? I don't know the answer to it, honestly. I mean, they're taking away qualified immunity left, right, and center. And now now in Senate they've got a bill that Kamala Harris and your boy Cory Booker are working on.
My boy,
yeah, your boy
Cory Booker.
Yeah.
Wow, slow down.
Working on Senate law to actually abolish qualified immunity across the boards.
I don't respect Cory Booker, honestly.
Not just state by state, but they want to do it across the boards. Which is, I mean, Connecticut has done it. Massachusetts is in the middle of it. Colorado had just done it. It's, you know, they're taking away our rights, and we have folks like you fighting to get us rights. So we need to kind of figure out that place where we can continue to protect our brothers and sisters. So I applaud you for that work, and that's you know, what you guys just did for the whole state of Oklahoma is amazing.
Hey, you're a monster, man.
We still got work to do, though.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
A lot of work.
And you guys know, you've got our support, and you got the support of millions. If it's brought up there, we'll support it. We'll push it. We'll promote it. That's what we do. We never kick anyone down on this show. It's all about giving a hand up. So if there's something that's going on that you need our help with, you let us know. If there's some reaching out that needs to be done, you let us know, and we'll see what we can do to facilitate it.
Well, it means a lot. Appreciate it.
No, absolutely, man.
Nah, thank you for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anytime.
I congratulate you for your glorious victory.
Glorious victory.
No, it is. It is a glorious victory, honestly.
Oh,
all right, Matt. Thanks a lot,
Matt.
brother. Be safe, all right? We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Too.
God bless
Stay
you.
safe.
bless, man.
All right, what do we got? We got some stuff to talk about here.
Any
Besides, how about callers? What is it? 219?
How many times
219 Blue Room?
can 219 Blue Room?
219 Blue Room, guys. Call in.
How many callers want to be subjected to Chris's nonsense?
We're
Yo,
not really
Josh,
sure.
stop it, bro. Stop.
So-
Honestly, bro.
All right, I'm going to ask you the same question that Tommy asked you 10 minutes ago.
But it's just going to be stupider now.
Allegedly.
So we've got some good news and we've got some bad news out of Atlanta.
What happened?
So the good news out of Atlanta is that the fired Atlanta police officer Garrett Rolfe is suing the city.
Good for him.
For a host of things,
Good
including
for
the
him.
firing after he shot and
Good
killed
for
that
him.
suspect that fired his own taser at him. Let's hope that turns out well for him.
Good for
because
him.
this will set a precedent for law enforcement everywhere.
Yes.
So that's a great thing.
Bad news?
If that goes, the bad news is that the Fulton County DA is trying to revoke his bail.
Come on.
Yeah. So part of the bail deal, after handing over $500,000, was a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, no contact with APD at all. He's wearing an ankle bracelet, which, by the way, think about how many people you've seen with an ankle bracelet, like in Walmart, and you've prejudged, that person immediately.
I'm just wait.
So-
Before we keep going, I'm just prejudging you because you're shopping in Walmart. But go ahead, carry on.
Oh, please. Oh, like you don't go to Walmart. Get the hell out of here.
I saw my wife.
Yeah, exactly. So he had to hand over his passport. So his lawyer notified the DA's office that he was going on a trip to Florida. Now, bail and the bail restrictions are in place to ensure that a defendant comes back to the municipality for trial and any appearances necessary before a trial, which obviously he is. He put up $500,000.
Yep.
And it's a bit of a stretch here. But in the current environment, it was kind of a silly thing to do to leave the state. Part of it was that you couldn't leave the state unless it was work or a necessary trip. His lawyer sent a notice to the DA's office the day before he was going, and the DA jumped all over it. I just, for the current environment, what's going on, why would you put yourself in a position to give the DA the necessary, the necessary ammunition to hurt you? I'm sure his lawyer advised him and said, hey, don't worry about it. We just send this over and it's good, because this happens every day. Every single person that's out on bail, and by the way, it's Georgia to Florida. He might have gone like 12 miles.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's what's good for one is not always good for the other. So his lawyer probably advised him, as a defense attorney, we do this all the time. My guys go, we just send a letter and everything's fine. But you're different. We're different.
Right.
Those
This is a different
rules,
case.
those rules don't apply to us. And now this DA is going after him to revoke his bail and have him put back in jail. So that's the bad news out of Atlanta.
Oh my God.
Which kind of sucks. Let's talk about Milburn High School.
No.
Yeah,
What
definitely.
happened in Norburn High School?
Milburn High School.
I see how he's doing this. He's doing it in levels. He's working my blood pressure up. Stacey, if you're listening,
listen,
it's all Tommy's fault.
This is good.
BlueStressTest.com.
Oh, yeah. Now you're going to do a live read? Go ahead. BlueStressTest.com. If you're stressed the fuck out and have to listen to Tommy's stories, go there and find out what your blood pressure
we
is.
should actually, we can hook Josh up to one of those machines while we do the show
That would be-
and watch it go
That
on.
would be epic.
Listen, I have at my house.
I'll
no
pay
joke.
to see that. I'll pay to see that.
You don't
right
have
now.
to go. Don't get crazy. I
Stop
have
yelling,
a, I
stop
have I
yelling.
have a pulse ox at my house, and for the next show, if you would like, I will bring it and we can watch my heart rate and my everything go up.
That would be great.
I think we need a medic on standby also.
So Milburn High School, they released their yearbook.
This motherfucker.
Photos that were taken in April of earlier
No,
this
October.
year. It was well, they published in April, right? They took the photos in October.
Right. Yeah.
But it didn't get published until April.
Correct.
And in the yearbook, there was the football team carrying a U.S. flag and the blue line flag. One honors our country, and one honors our police officers.
And the football team did it specifically because they were honoring not just law enforcement, but the DARE officers that had dealt with the high school and people that they knew specifically. They were honoring law enforcement in general, but them specifically. Go ahead,
So
Tommy.
some snowflake got offended by this, and the quote-unquote doctor, who is Dr. William Miron, who's the principal of the high school, he groveled and he folded. He released statements saying, "I'm so sorry."
His statement was disgusting.
I'm not even going to read it in its entirety. I'll give you some tidbits that he didn't know that the blue line flag promotes racism and microaggression, and we can't hide behind our ignorance.
I'm sick
The
and
only-
tired of that
the-
term, honestly. I'm sick and tired of
Which
it.
one?
Can I finish this or no?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead.
Thanks. He said we can't hide behind our ignorance, and the only ignorance he's hiding behind is his own.
Correct.
When he says that the
Yep.
blue line flag represents racism and microaggression.
How?
It's stop screaming.
How? I'm getting aggravated right now, man.
So we represent hate and racism because some false narrative, some group jumped on this, and all of a sudden, sort of like the symbol, like on the leg, all of a sudden that's
The
a
OK
racist
symbol.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a racist.
That means okay.
No, it doesn't. That means that's a white supremacy signal now.
Well,
And
I don't
apparently if you
believe
use
that.
it- well, it doesn't really matter what you believe. That's how it's perceived. And if you do it on camera and you're photoed doing it, your picture's public.
Tommy.
You're Christian.
Tommy, only low IQ people believe in that narrative. I don't.
I
This means okay, perfecto,
where
perfect.
I am not speaking to you. I'm
I
not
know, I know, I know,
I'm not
I
even
know.
speaking to our.
He's not
our-
addressing the elephant in the
our,
room.
Our core base. Our core base recognizes that that's bullshit. But the fact that it's actually a thing is ridiculous. To think that the blue line flag represents racism and ignorance, racism and microaggression, and then you have a doctor, a
Yes.
principal,
Yes.
who in Portland there were 22 people arrested for rioting 2 weeks ago. Of the 22, I think 17 were teachers. Now look, your wife's a teacher, my wife's a teacher.
It's not a
That's
surprise,
not-
honestly.
They are not the voice of the teaching community. Just like the nurses that say, we're not going to do this because of the police. They're not the voice. Nurses support us. Teachers support us.
I know.
90% of society supports us. But when you have the principal here putting out a message to all of the families that go to the school saying that I'm apologizing, I'm taking a knee because we allowed the football team to support our local law enforcement officers is just absurd. It's absurd.
The only time I take a knee is when I tie my shoes.
Or when I give a blow. Oh, sorry, wrong show.
It is. Listen, it's not even absurd. Let's just call it what it is. It's self-preservation. A lot of these politicians, a lot of these elected officials, even this guy in his role as a principal, they understand that their position is subject or affected by their popularity inside of the community. And so they're going to do and they're going to say whatever keeps them in their $200,000 a year job, which this moron, is paid
Dr. Moron.
$200,000 a year.
Wow.
He's going to say whatever he has to say to keep himself in that position, which makes it worse than, because somebody else had said when we were talking about it earlier in the week, they're like, oh, well, he's so ignorant. No, he's not ignorant. He's not ignorant. He's willfully a hypocrite, which makes it worse than ignorant. If he was just that stupid and didn't know what the blue line represents and was putting it, no, he knows what the fuck it represents.
Or if
he doesn't care.
If he took 10 minutes to actually research it.
Bro,
Sean Verb sent them and you sent that a good email as well. Sean Verb sent an amazing email breaking down exactly the history of the blue line.
I'm surprised Sean Verb can spell. Let's be honest.
We should get Sean Verb on the phone. Do we have his number? Let's get Sean Verb on the phone.
We got Sean. Yeah,
I'd say hey Jacob, but Jacob is not even in the booth anymore.
I got it. No, I got it.
Yeah.
No, it is. I think I hear Jacob. No, it is willful hypocrisy is what he is, which is worse than ignorance. He knows that it doesn't represent those things. He's just saying that shit so he can stay principal and stay popular. Because right now, like you had said...
But what's the point of all of that, though? What's the point?
What's the point of all of it? Self-preservation. His paycheck.
No, I know, but that's financial perspective. But like people that are... how do I say it? People that can see...
I don't know. How do you say it?
People that can see through the BS or realize that he's a hypocrite. So how does that help him?
Well, the people that can see through the BS and the people that can see that he's a hypocrite right now aren't vocal. And that's what we've been saying for weeks, that the quote-unquote silent majority need to be the vocal majority at this point, because the silence is acceptance and the silence is aiding this nonsense and allowing this idiot to get this shit off. Because, again, he's not stupid. Let's call it what it is. You do not become a principal anywhere in any school district because you're stupid. He's not a stupid guy. He's a smart guy. So you'll never convince me that this guy who back in October, when he knew the photo was taken, because he was probably at the football game and knew the photo was taken, you're not going to convince me that he suddenly doesn't realize what the blue line represents.
But also, I'll go on and say that I'm sure he didn't approve every photo in that book. So I'm sure they even listen. Hold on.
Are you shooting bail for him?
No bail. He was there.
Stab him too.
I'm not defending him. But think about the hierarchy of any business. The head person cannot know every aspect of every angle of what goes on in that business. So if he thought, now again, I think this is all pandering.
I disagree on that.
Hear him out.
He's pandering to folks. When the photo was taken, there was probably 1,000 photos taken that day. He knew the blue line flag was out there. I get all that. But come time to print that yearbook, there's someone that's head of the yearbook committee that probably doesn't have to go to the principal and say, do you approve every photo? I'm not making excuses and I'm not defending the guy. But he doesn't know all that. But once it came out, he then took the coward's way and said, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was this, and the other thing. I'm certain he did not approve every photo in that book, and I'm certain if he was showing all of them back in October, he probably would have said, yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
He absolutely would have.
Definitely. Of course he would have.
He absolutely would have.
But that's not to say that he was made aware of every single photo going in there. Either way, he's a douche.
Honestly, I'm just sick and tired of all these people, man.
I'm sick and tired of you starting drinking at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
There it is.
On the days we do shows.
I wasn't even here at 4 o'clock.
I didn't say you were here drinking.
Yeah, you got here at 7:55.
All right, here, quick head. This is a really
Please don't do it.
no. This is you're going to agree with this one, and I don't know if Booth can pull up the photo of the cop in London.
Where in London?
Yeah, a guy in London. Can we get that photo up? So two police officers perform a car stop.
Mm-hmm.
The driver, who has 2 previous convictions for rape, convictions, not arrest, 2 convictions for rape and 2 for attacking someone with a machete.
Oh, my
Right?
God.
He gets belligerent at the car stop, and he grabs from his car, guess what?
Machete.
Machete, exactly. And then he starts hacking, right? He starts hacking away at the cop. Can we get that photo up or no? Yeah? So he's hacking away at the cop. The cop has gashes on both sides of his head, his face, his arms. He has broken fingers, right? And this is London. This guy's a hero. He's being sued for use of excessive force.
Oh, my. Well, I'm not surprised, honestly, because...
Relax. The claim is that the guy was simply defending himself. Okay, but it gets better. Because you would think that this took place in the Bronx courthouse, right? Because he beat the charges. Attempted murder, possession of a weapon. The judge would not allow the jury to hear the suspect's past arrests and convictions. What she claims is, his attorney claims, is that the officer was the aggressor here and that her client was simply defending himself, yet again, with a machete. Look at those photos. That was this guy hacked this cop. So the cop, after he's getting hacked, he falls to the ground. He uses his taser.
I was just going to say, because
he uses his taser.
London, a lot of them don't carry guns.
Well, he didn't use a gun. He used his
they
taser.
They don't.
Set for non-lethal. I don't know what the terminology is for, tasing someone, but it was on a lower setting, just to kind of zap him a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was as humane as possibly can be. He zaps this guy, for lack of a better word, right, to stop the threat. His partner puts the cuffs on him. The officer goes to the hospital. Look at the photos. Stitches everywhere, broken bones. And they want to sue this guy because he used a taser against the guy attacking him with a machete. So it's not just this insanity on law enforcement does not stop at the U.S. border.
I know.
It does not.
I know.
It's global.
But in the UK, almost all officers don't carry weapons. They have a special unit that they carry armed. That's what they call armed police.
Can I make a request?
Did you say eunuch?
Can I make a request? Every time Chris speaks, I want background music. I don't know. I haven't decided what that is yet, but every time he
Put
speaks,
Tiesto.
no, yeah, or crickets.
But I'm saying, almost all of the police officers in the UK don't carry weapons. That's why they call bobbies. Have you Google that term, bobbies?
Bobby means no gun.
Yeah, they don't carry. I don't know what's the logic behind that.
It's
I
a
don't
thing
know.
with water with the apples in it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying they have a
Only in Halloween.
specialized unit of the UK police in the United Kingdom, specifically in London, where they carry weapons, assault rifles. They call it armed police.
Well, the argument. So what you're saying is they should carry guns.
Yeah, they should.
What you're saying
they
is
should.
So you could have
They
said
should.
that.
Common sense. At least a
you're
basic.
Stop yelling. Stop
a
yelling.
basic
Stop yelling.
.45 Glock gun. At least you should carry that.
You're mad at him for starting to drink at 4. I'm mad at me for not starting to drink at 4. Carry on.
So protesters showed up at the door of the Democratic District Attorney's office. She's the DA Jackie Lacey in L.A., right? They show up, about 50 protesters show up at the Democratic DA's house, banging on the door. Husband comes out and is like, "Can I help you?" "Yeah, we want DA Lacey. We want DA Lacey. Send her out." So the husband, defending his property, right? It was a castle doctrine. Goes back in, takes out a big old 357 or 44, and says, "Get off my porch." So now they start, "Yo, you're gonna shoot us? You're gonna shoot us?" He's like, "Get off my porch, leave my house, we want her, send her out here, send her out here, send her out here." He goes back in, they leave. Call the police, they leave. Later on, the DA has a press conference where she's apologizing for her husband's actions. And
I hate that,
the
yo.
would you shut the fuck up?
Why do you have to apologize?
She's practically crying. She's breaking down in tears. How my husband feels so remorseful. He realizes what he did was wrong. She's had stalkers. She's had multiple threats on her life. And then a gang shows up at your house demanding you come outside. And all you do is stand there with your gun saying, "Get off my porch." She was begging them for forgiveness. Begging them.
I need bluestresstest.com.
So
I need bluestresstest.com. Honestly, I'm done.
The question is, at what point are you allowed to defend yourself? Do you have to wait until they come in your house? Can you defend yourself then? Do you have to wait until they assault someone in your house? Do you have to wait till they kill someone in your house before you can defend yourself?
I hope he filed for divorce from that bitch right after that fucking.
The press conference that she gave, it broke my heart to see her as a prosecutor, the lead prosecutor for Los Angeles County, the lead prosecutor, to turn around and apologize for her husband defending her life.
Again.
That's basically what he did.
Yeah.
Again, positions based on popularity.
Wow.
It is unbelievable. This pandering, again, coming from people, it's a knee-jerk reaction to say, "Oh, these are just idiots." No, these aren't idiots. These are educated people reading the tea leaves. They see what's out there, they see what's popular, and it's self-preservation. And they will say whatever the fuck they have to say. I apologize for cursing.
It's a
children's show.
Family show.
Children's show. They will say whatever the heck they have to say, as stupid as it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
As ridiculous as it sounds, they will say whatever they have to say to maintain their positions. They don't care that it makes absolute no sense. De Blasio with the ridiculous increase in crime. Pick a crime. And he's going to talk about, well, we have less prisoners in our prisons since World War II, and we're safer for it. Like, who the fuck is buying this shit?
I don't know who, man. I don't know. I don't even want to know.
Who the? I mean, honestly,
but it's not. But it's everywhere. It's everywhere. A group of armed protesters showed up at the home of a cop in Colorado Springs.
Oh God!
A year after he was cleared of a shooting. So the grand jury took a month, right? And on August 3rd of 2019, decided that the officers did not commit a crime and were justified in shooting 19-year-old Devon Bailey. Cops investigating a burglary. This kid and his friend fit the script. Foot pursuit. Kid goes to his waistband. Cops fire their guns. Hit him 4 times. They kill him. Gun recovered from his waistband. They went to the cop's house.
My God.
That's off limits. You want to protest what I do at my job, you come to my job.
Yeah.
You don't come to my house.
Exactly.
So they marched to the cop's last known address, and we don't even think the cop lived there. They blocked the street. CSPD is called. A pickup truck that's trying to pass through gets surrounded. They start shaking on the truck. They're spitting on the windows. The guy's just trying to get home. He happens to live on the block, though. So he drives to the end of the block. He pulls into his driveway. And what does the angry mob do? They follow him to his house. And now they surround his house. This is just a neighbor trying to get home. They surround his house. So what does that guy do? He goes inside and gets his rifle. He comes back outside, says, "Get off my lawn, get off my property." Again, the interaction starts again. CPSD shows up, disperses everybody, legally owned rifle, get off his property, leave him alone. But this is becoming the norm.
Yep.
This is becoming the norm. They rallied up in front of the L.A. County Sheriff's house, who shot and killed an 18-year-old man with a gun last year. Again, it's a year later. So the mayors and the council people, they have to put a stop to this. They have to find a way to say, hey, I get your protest. You disagree with the result, but to traumatize the family,
that's not protesting
because you didn't get the desired result.
It's not protesting.
And that investigation is still open. So they haven't even determined that yet. They haven't ended that yet. But yet they still went to his house and traumatized his family because he was involved in a shooting a year earlier.
Honestly, this is, how do I say it? This is forming a civil war. That's what I see for all of this.
I'm your conscience.
Like, I don't get it.
So you would think
Deep thoughts.
you would think
With Chris the Intern.
like Chief Craig, who protects his people, right? goes out of his way to do the right thing for his people. Baltimore Commissioner Michael Harrison wants to be able to fire officers charged quicker. I didn't say convicted, charged. He wants to be able to fire officers charged or likely to be charged. And state law says they can't fire a cop until they go before an internal review board, and they can't fire a cop based on a felony until after conviction. All right? It's called due process. It's in the Constitution.
Yep.
I guess it's just not for cops in Maryland. Okay? And the example he gave was if what happened in Minneapolis happened here, we wouldn't be able to fire that cop immediately. Well, guess what? The cop in Minneapolis shouldn't have been fired either. Due process. Suspended. Keep your pay. When we figure this out, then you get fired based on if you need to be fired, you're fired.
I see where you're going.
But no, that's it. That's the end of it. That's how is due process good for everyone else in society except for police officers? And then you got a police chief
how is freedom of speech good for everybody
Tom,
in society but police officers?
I think we got to a point where the concept of safety and self-defense will not exist. That's
we'll get to the next
the conclusion that I have reached. Honestly,
Danny, he's using your words now. Conclusion.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Conclusion is
that safety and self-defense do not exist.
So screw my question.
219 Blue Room. Huh? 219 Blue Room's phone.
Honestly,
anybody? Anybody? Please save me.
Should I live in a cave for a year?
Yes, please live in a cave.
And clean my sanity and my happiness.
Don't you already?
Can you start tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll live in a cave. If I'm happy, I'll live in a cave. Honestly, I don't know what to think no more.
So in the
honestly, I'm being serious, bro. Like seriously, the cops can't defend their home.
Okay, Chris the Caveman.
Geico.
What?
He's taking over caveman nickname from Jay.
What is happening?
I don't know,
So
man.
in this
made me thick, honestly.
in this culture
Cancel culture.
cancel culture,
There you go.
where they're defunding and they're breaking things up. Rumor has it that Boston Police Department is trying to disband their SWAT team.
I've heard of that.
It's a very
unbelievable.
It's a very large city. The
I
powers
thought
that
they did trying.
well, are they done?
I'm not.
So it might be done then. They want to use
Lance, if you're listening, call
that.
in.
Please call in. They feel they can use their funds and the manpower in a more productive way. They made a deal with the Massachusetts State Police, who have a SWAT team in Boston, that they would send a team over when they needed SWAT assistance. By the way, Massachusetts State Police are also disbanding their SWAT team in Boston.
Oh God!
Dude,
I got nothing to say.
Please, please.
But let's take a few of the things that what a SWAT do, right? Search and rescue, perp search, jumpers off buildings and bridges, snipers.
Yep.
Like they do a lot of things that regular cops just can't do, right?
Correct.
And I think they can get the cities, the municipalities can probably get away with that. They'll lose a few more lives because the SWAT guys aren't there, but they also bring in heavy equipment when there are riots and they're burning down their city. And now they're going to lose that. And I think that's the ulterior motive here. We're not worried about having the big, bad, ugly guys all in black with the big, bad trucks and the long black weapons. Let's stop these guys from stopping the riots. I think that's their end goal. Because they can't.
It wouldn't surprise me.
They can't stop the inciting of the riots. So let's stop the quelling of the riots. Sort of like was it like 2008 or 10 when Obama was all big about the stopping the guns. They slowed down the manufacturing of ammunition. They couldn't stop the gun manufacturers from making the guns, but the guns are useless without ammo. So they slowed the manufacturing of ammunition down, and that didn't work. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So they're saying, hey, we can't tell you not to riot, and we're trying to fight with you guys about the way we handle riots. Let's take away the one element that we have in our society to stop the riots.
How backwards are
Like,
we?
that's-
Really?
that's
How-
what's going on. And it's happening all over.
That's the same thing I'm asking. How
It's happening everywhere. SWAT teams these units, these specialized units, are going away because they won't be able to be used to quell the riots.
honestly, big cities are no longer the place to live in no more. That's the message that I'm getting right now.
219 Blue Room.
That's why I'm not selling from Boston ever again.
Somebody, anybody.
I don't know, man.
Christian speaking.
Get me somebody while I'm waiting.
I don't know. Like
Nah.
honestly, like every single major city is doing this. Like why? I don't know. Should I leave the country?
Do you live?
Josh?
Do you live in a major?
Should I?
Do you
Are
live
you
in a
asking
major
me
city?
Are you asking me genuinely? Yes. you
Yes.
should- Chris, please leave the country.
I thought you were going to.
No, I thought you were asking me.
I'll go to my mom's native country and live there for a year. I don't know. Even though it's fucked up down there too. So
Anyone looking to donate to Christian's move to his mom's native country?
I'll pay for it.
And done. We'll do it right now.
I'll pay for it. All right.
We can probably get this paid in 12 hours.
even though the criminals are captured and they're released, and the next day they're released. So I
All right.
don't know, man. I don't know.
This is the last. This is the last.
Don't do it, Tommy. Please don't do it.
No. That's just
All right,
It's fine.
good.
You're not going to want to.
All right, good. Thank you.
We spoke earlier about the plaintiffs filing a suit in federal court in Seattle, claiming that they're being priced out of protesting. They say that the necessary equipment they need to protect themselves from police tactics are so expensive, and they're asking Seattle police officers to no longer use force against them. They actually have an active lawsuit in federal court in Seattle.
Yes.
So first they took
That
away
defending themselves against the police officers is too expensive.
It's too expensive. So we can't do it anymore. They took away the pepper spray and the tear gas we talked about earlier. Now they want to take away physical contact. Right?
Yep.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually, some judge awards them some sort of temporary order that says the police are not allowed to physically restrain, quote unquote,
I wouldn't be
protesters.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because I think they're going to succeed at that. But here's the thing: if you live in Seattle or Portland,
Run.
Portland,
Run.
Oregon, not Portland, Maine, where Chief Craig was. Portland, Oregon.
Run.
You need to get out.
Yes.
The businesses are failing. It's no longer safe to walk the streets. In Portland last week, they tried to take a police precinct, right? They were held off. During last weekend alone, there were 150 confirmed shots fired in front of a housing development.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. Bullets were hitting apartments, vehicles,
Oh,
people,
God, yo.
and they want to abolish the police department there. Okay, it's like Portland PD is not getting pounded enough. A district judge, this is his suggestion, that federal officers wear numbered jerseys so the rioters can easily identify them, like a football jersey, without your name, but just the number.
I don't know.
Blue stress test.
Yeah, blue stress
Is
test.
this a nightmare? Is this a nightmare that I'm going through?
So they want them. This judge is
pinch
suggesting.
me, please.
Yeah, I'll pinch you.
Stab
No,
him.
pinch
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
please. Is
stab
this a
him.
nightmare?
Johnny's gonna stab.
Is this
Yeah,
a nightmare I'm
just
going
stab
through?
him. Stab him in the head.
Hey, we'll pinch you.
So the
Do
judge,
do it.
the judge is saying, let's put numbers on their jerseys. So let's play devil's advocate. 'Cause, I'm a big devil's advocate guy.
Oh, here we go.
You don't think that Antifa and BLM people are going to put these same exact jerseys on, beat the daylights out of each other so they can be filmed and used as evidence?
Yep.
As someone that wasn't
Yep.
even there on the scene?
Yep.
Like, this doesn't even make sense. Like,
Oh, God.
There is again. We talked about it with the chief. He's harnessed something that has his cops still being active, but everywhere else around the country, I mean, this stuff
dude,
that I'm seeing. Like, why would you even? Why would you even engage if you're an active police officer in that scenario? Why would you even engage?
Honestly,
You can't.
They're not
You
going. They're
can't.
not going to have to disband the Portland Police Department because they're all going to resign eventually.
honestly,
They're going to make it to the
they're
point
gonna have no
where
choice.
they're going to have to. They can't support
honestly,
their families.
that's how Rome fell. Honestly, law and order have been disintegrated in Rome, and Rome fell because of it. So we're on the same trajectory. No, for real. Google how Rome fell.
It all
and
started when the
compare-
tower Pisa
and compare it to the USA.
Caesar took a
Honestly.
small boy in the mop room, and that was it.
No, but
Minneapolis. Here, we're
don't know,
gonna
man.
wrap this up with this. All right,
Uh-huh.
I gotta go. I can't do it.
America's third world country.
Minneapolis.
it's
Ready?
gonna be a third world country soon.
The police,
Gonna be?
the police department issued notice, and most of you heard about it. Notice specifically to the 3rd precinct, which was the one but seized by rioters. The precinct building was actually seized by rioters. They said to give in to criminals, give them what they want.
Yes.
Your money, your property, cell phone, purse, wallet, doesn't matter.
Yes.
Don't argue with them or fight. Just do what they say.
Yes.
Carry only what you need. Carry less cash. The month of July, in just the one precinct, there were 100 robberies and 20 carjackings. And the police department is saying, if you live within this precinct, we don't have the resources to protect you. So if you're accosted on the street, just put your hands up and give your shit away, and call 911, and we might get to you when we get to you. That was an official press release from the police department.
It's like friggin' Gotham City.
How is that even?
Sounds like Peru. Sounds like.
How do you know? You never been there.
Is that where you're moving to?
I watch.
I heard they got good chicken.
I watch reports from Peru and like the robbers, that people that steal things from people.
They put out reports.
That is a common thing that people are used to it already. Like police capture them, and the next day they're out of jail.
Right.
So if
Staff meeting. How many people did you rob today?
If that goes on in the U.S., so I don't know what to say at this point. Honestly, I don't know what to say at this point.
I know what you have to say. You got a plug?
Go ahead.
You got a plug it.
Blue stress.
Please help me move to another country. Anybody looking to donate to Christian's move?
GoFundMe.
Go fund me.
I'll go to Japan at this point. Honestly,
Why is Japan got to be that bad,
Is that
bro?
next to Trenton?
Japan, honestly, is the most sane and
Because I like sushi.
commonsensical country out there.
Spit
So
your plug out. Go.
I'll speak Japanese.
Spit your plug out. Go.
Blue Stress Test is a facility where law enforcement can go to check their heart by doing the stress test. Go to bluestresstest.com.
Listen, we don't even have to ask you.
I need one right now.
We don't.
I have two today though.
I'm going to get the Chris stress test.
Stop, bro.
First plug I want to give a shout out to Chris Barlow of Big Barlow's Barbecue down in Barnegat, 21 South Main Street. Last Saturday he hosted a Back to Blue rally. Awesome turnout, and I've had some awesome barbecue all over the country, and he's definitely in my top 5. And he always supports law enforcement in any facet that he can. And especially during the COVID crisis, he was donating food almost to the point where he put himself in the hole and almost had to close his business up. But he was doing right by law enforcement, medical staff, and he was out there, and he's always supporting us, so I want to give him the support back.
If you're going to plug him, he's the top 3.
All right, well, I mean...
I say top 3.
Top 3.
All right, good.
Okay, top 2.
Honestly.
And last, www.proudpig.blue.
Are you patrolling with the pig?
And if you're not, you're doing it wrong.
I just noticed while I was listening to you almost have a Joe Lemire type voice. Like you.
No, he doesn't.
What?
He's
Johnny,
not. He's
Johnny
not,
absolutely
He's not as
does.
white. He's not as white as Joe.
I'm not.
No, you're really
I'm from an
no.
inner city.
3-chord bourbon. 3chordbourbon.com. Listen,
it tastes
this shit,
beautiful.
This
tastes
shit.
beautiful.
Well, I know because you've been stealing mine all night. Fucking that's why you come in with your crazy questions and stories. 3chordbourbon.com.
Don't cover the label.
Yo, why are you doing that, Josh? Why?
Mute.
Why are you covering the label, bro?
Bathroom.
Put him in the bathroom.
Yeah, put him in the bathroom.
bathroom.
That's it. I think the next show we just secretly mute Chris's mic the entire time. Just don't tell him. Let him think he's going through. He'll think his ear through. Yeah. See.
Chris Mush.
3chordbourbon.com. They love their cops, and their cops love their bourbon. Go.
You know who else loves their cops? Line of Duty Cigars love their cops. www.lineofdutycigars.com. Cigar outings, steak nights, golf outings, anything you need, we'll discount the daylights out of it. You can go on the website. You can order cigars. You can send cigars to soldiers overseas. We donate. We send about 175 cigars a quarter to guys, men and women serving overseas, all on our dime. So www.lineofdutycigars.com. We're out. We'll post the next show Wednesday.
No, it is Wednesday.
This coming Wednesday. What's the date? Anyone?
Date on Wednesday?
Date.
That would be
I have a date on Wednesday. I have a date with a pizza.
Wednesday the 12th.
Wednesday the 12th,
Wednesday the
8
12th.
to 10, special guest to be announced. We're about 99% sure, and it will not be Christian Bonilla.
Bonilla.
Dude, I
That was
definitely
a host this whole time.
I like him better with his mic muted. It's fucking awesome. That is awesome.
Christian Bonilla.
No,
All right, we're out, guys. We'll be back on Wednesday.
thank
Tune
you.
in.
Thanks,
Great
everybody.
show. Thank you to Chief Craig. Good stuff.
Thank you, Matt.
Matt
Calling in.
Schofield.
Yep.
Schofield. Later. We're
Later,
out.
bye.
Take us out, Jacob. Take us out.
If you are searching for a doctor that truly cares about your overall health and well-being, contact Dr. Alex at Tri-State Health and Wellness. For more than 11 years, Dr. Alex has been treating law enforcement professionals and their families while focusing on one-on-one care so you never feel rushed. All necessary testing can be conducted during your visit, and they feature flexible hours and appointments to accommodate alternating work schedules. Tri-State Health and Wellness is conveniently located in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Contact Dr. Alex today by visiting www.bluetristate.com. Mortgages for everyday heroes. From Michelle Hendershot and Homebridge Financial Services. If you're looking to purchase a home or refinance an existing mortgage, Michelle Hendershot can assist you every step of the way. With over 10 years of experience assisting law enforcement officers with their dream of owning a home, the choice is simple. Contact Michelle Hendershot today. Visit www.mortgagesforblue.com. Are you tired of sleeping alone each night? Feeling sluggish during the day? Is your snoring keeping your spouse awake at night? If you find yourself spending too much time on the couch, maybe it's time to visit Dr. Michael Doblin of At Home Sleep Solutions. Dr. Doblin is the preferred sleep apnea doctor of New Jersey's law enforcement officers. With the help of a custom-fitted oral device, you can finally say goodbye to noisy, antiquated sleep apnea machines. For more information and to schedule an appointment today, contact Dr. Michael Doblin. Visit www.bluesnore.com. If chronic pain is preventing you from leading a full and active lifestyle, then it's time to visit Oasis Spine and Orthopedic Specialists. As a Blue-friendly service provider, Oasis understands that each person's situation is unique and that each person's healing plan needs to be customized for individual injuries and conditions. Featuring board-certified and fellowship-trained physicians, Oasis Spine and Orthopedic Specialists will have you back on your feet and back in the game. Schedule your appointment today by visiting www.blueorthopedic.com. Moment of Silence, Inc., along with Blue Suicide, is a nonprofit organization founded to support and raise awareness about the epidemic of suicides amongst law enforcement, military personnel, and first responders. For more information on how you can help, visit momentofsilenceinc.org. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a certified used vehicle, then visit Fetty Auto Group, located at the junction of Route 46 and Route 3 in Clifton, New Jersey. Fetty Auto Group stands shoulder to shoulder with the men and women in blue. Stop by and ask for Troy Mall and ask about the offers for first responders. For more information, visit FettyAuto.com. That's FettyAuto.com. The Blue Magazine, the law enforcement publication by law enforcement professionals for the men and women of law enforcement. The unfiltered voice of law enforcement. TheBlueMagazine.com. Are you patrolling with the pig? If not, you're doing it wrong. Check out all the newest swine swag at ProudPig.blue. They are dirty by design. Check it out now. Visit www.proudpig.blue for all your swine swag. Visit www.proudpig.blue. Line of Duty Cigars, owned and operated by retired NYPD Detective Tom Werther. Visit lineofdutycigars.com for our handmade Nicaraguan cigars, custom ashtrays, custom humidors, and custom flask sets. Also, when you place an order, you choose the law enforcement, first responder, or veteran charity, and Line of Duty Cigars donates 10% to that organization. Planning a special event? Contact us today. Visit www.lineofdutycigars.com.